The world's fastest supercross riders are here tonight in Las Vegas. With $1 million on the line, a feast of a racetrack awaits.
I've been pushing so hard. Just one more race to win.
The layout is part supercross, part motocross. And it's so big, Sam Boyd Stadium could not hold it in its confines. This is the inaugural Monster Energy Cup, and it comes to you right now, live on Speed.
For the first time in history, the best supercross and motocross racers in the world have come together to battle it out in a unique event for $1 million. This is the Monster Energy Cup, and it comes to you live on Speed from Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen. Well, it's Vegas, baby, so the Speed crew thought we'd get into the spirit of things and go with a different look, as you'll see throughout the night. This is a very, very unique event, something we've never tried before in this sport. $1 million up for grabs and a really different style of racetrack, a hybrid between supercross and motocross. It's gonna make for an outstanding night of racing here. It's the largest supercross track ever created. We've got unique 3 main event formats for you, and of course, a total purse, $250,000 up for grabs. If you win all 3 mains, you could possibly take home that Monster Million. Here's how excited the riders are about that chance.
I think it's a unique track. You know, we got like Pontiac and we got to go up into the stands. I think that's pretty cool.
You know, everyone talks about the 3 main events as like the first one. If you don't get the first one, you can't win all 3. So the first one is going to be really important. I think that's going to be, you know, the most important. People are going to be going for it. So
no matter how much you prepare, a race like this is, you know, I think it's going to be interesting, and you never know what's going to happen because it's so different from the lack of whoops and even the corners being opened up more than, you know, normal, and jumps and berms and everything that are bigger. I think anybody can win a 10-lap main event. So, you know, we're all looking at that $1 million.
We don't know what to really expect. I'm assuming there'll be a lot of fans to come out and watch this because there's so much things that can happen when we're out there. There's 3 10-lap races. Like Kevin said, the corners are pretty opened up, and there is no rules, so anything goes.
A tremendous amount of racing to show you live here tonight on Speed. We're gonna have some heats, some semis, last chance qualifier, and of course, those 3 main events, 10 laps each, 22 riders at the gate each time. If you can win all 3, you take home the Monster Million. If you just win the overall, that in itself is worth $100 grand. And of course, we've got some great amateur all-stars to show you here tonight as well. The Monster Energy Cup, tons of excitement.
When we return to Speed's live coverage of the Monster Energy Cup, we send it high above the stadium and hear from our experts, Jeff Emig and Ricky Carmichael. These guys have 22 titles between them, and with $1 million on the line, you need to hear what they have to say.
Opening ceremony is underway here inside Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. Pretty soon they'll be introducing the riders. They just brought out the Monster Million, put it right in front of the starting gate. You know, we want to get you, the fans, involved in tonight's show, so we have a poll question for you. Log on to speed.com and tell us which rider you think has the best shot at that Monster Million. Is it Ryan Villapoto, Kevin Windham, Brock Tickle, Michael Lessie, or maybe somebody else? Go to speed.com and let us know what you think. Well, I am so thrilled to be back working with the crew again. Joining me upstairs tonight will be the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael, and my buddy, the Fro Daddy. Jeff Emig is back with us, and working down, covering all the action on the track, will be Aaron Bates. Let's head upstairs first to Ricky and Jeff.
Well, I'm telling you guys, the party has started early at the Monster Energy Cup. I mean, people started filling the pit party in the pits, coming out to watch qualifying practice. Got a pretty unique energy here tonight for this inaugural event. Yeah, Ricky?
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. The vibe is amazing here tonight. The track is epic. The fans are having a good time. The fan zone is just unbelievable. And I tell you what, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I can't wait to see somebody try to win $1 million.
Yeah, and 12 months of preparation have gone into this event, and a very unique track, lots of money, this massive trophy up for grabs. And one of the cool things for the fans is all these VIP zones. And let's go down to one of the special VIP zones down inside the stadium to Aaron Bates.
That's right, Jeff. There is so much excitement going on here at the Monster Energy Cup, and I owe it to all you fans at home to take you behind the scenes for an up-close and personal look at all the action. I'm going to take you deep into the pits. We're going to be following all the developing stories. Plus, we're going to hit up some party zones where all these fans have been partying Vegas style, just waiting for tonight's event to start. But we're kicking things off here at the Monster Energy Cup VIP zone, quite possibly some of the best seats in the stadium.
It took 650 dump trucks full of dirt to create this diabolical terror we're calling a racetrack. The sport's two greatest champions, Jeremy McGrath and Ricky Carmichael, will give you the lowdown on how to get around this beast of a course. Showtime and the GOAT when the Monster Energy Cup returns on Speed.
We have more racing for you live tonight right here on Speed after the Monster Energy Cup. If you're a fan of F1, we've got the Formula One Grand Prix of Korea coming to you live tonight, 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Should come on pretty much about the time we maybe hand out that $1 million. Yeah, there's Ryan Dungey being introduced to the crowd, and you know, Kevin Windham is always a fan favorite. Watch as Kevin Windham was introduced to the Sam Boyd Stadium crowd here on the 14. Look at the whip. And then he starts making transfers around the track to the delight of the crowd. And if there wasn't a fan in this audience that didn't love Kevin Windham before he came into the stadium, trust me, they do now. If you'd like to tweet about what you see here tonight, or maybe have a question for Jeff, Ricky, Aaron, myself, or maybe even for one of the riders, send us a tweet here. You can go to ME Cup on Speed and let us know what you're thinking or what you want to know about. We've talked about it all day already, how unique this racetrack is. Jeff, Ricky, give us your thoughts on this very unique hybrid design.
This track map is brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F. Fully equipped and race ready. Ricky, start us off.
Here we go, coming to the outside. This being a hybrid track, you can see all the fast, high-flying jumps right here. A big 98-foot gap by the Monster fan zone in the back. Coming around over a jump tabletop section, a lot of rolled out whoops. And then there's a hip jump here through the sand rollers, a very key part of tonight's race.
A lot of riders went down earlier today in qualifying practice, and check this out. 240 feet up into the grandstands. We haven't seen that in a number of years. Massive double jump. That's only going to be 2. Go under that and head to the finish.
Here you go, and hopefully see someone win $1 million.
Well, that's how it looks according to the computer. Now let's show you the rider's perspective. Kevin Windham does the job for us. He mounted a GoPro, and here's what it looks like from the rider's perspective.
Hello, guys.
And here we are at the start-finish line, into a tight left, which is really important to get a good drive out of this, coming into Monster Alley. This is a really high-speed section and really rocky. The bike's going to be moving all over through this back section. Hard to find the lines. Left, little dogleg right, then back over a C-can here. You can see how much we're moving and trying to get the bike to get the traction down and get the fast lap. Everybody's doing this big double here into the left-hander. Over a C-can, once again into a really difficult section. Not big jumps, but still the bike does a lot of moving, a lot of body position, a lot of English you put on the bike to try to get the traction down and be fast. This is the part where you can make a lot of time. Back into Monster Alley. One of the toughest sections of the track that's claimed a lot of people today. Look at the movement of the bike in this, these sand whoops. Hard left, plant that thing there, and up over the style jump here, the over and under. Into the one rhythm section of the track. We're right here, we're just doing double, double, double. But I think by tonight, there'll be somebody throwing something really sick, trying to gain some extra time right here. Up in the stands, down, little double, and to the left. Trying to make as much time as you can in these little switchback corners and get set up for one of the biggest jumps on the track here. Big air here. Hopefully throw a little style there when you're about to win $1 million for somebody. Hopefully me. Onto the start straight, get your little signal here from the mechanic, come into the finish line, and that's it. Thanks for taking a lap with me on the Monster Energy Cup.
Just an incredible perspective from Kevin Windham and the folks at GoPro. The riders checking out the starting area. You know, we talked about how Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT, greatest of all time, was involved in building this track. So was the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath. And earlier today, Showtime took us on a tour.
Jeremy McGrath here. We are in Vegas at the Monster Energy Cup $1 Million race. I'm standing on the track, this crazy radical track. I'm part co-designer with RC, of course, and I want to show you guys some of the sections that are going to give these riders a fit tonight. Here is one of those sections I was talking about. This is a 95-foot double. It's huge. The face, it's all blind. These guys are going to have to do 3 motos, 10 laps of perfect jumping here to make everything right. This track has huge jumps, but it's got more bumps than an outdoor track. Tonight, these guys are going to hope they have the right setting in their bike, because this place is going to get chopped up. This thing's going to be 50, 60 mile an hour, side by side. If they don't have their bikes right, this is going to make a huge difference. All right, some of you guys might have seen a section like this before, bringing back a little bit of the old school. We got the peristyle here in Vegas. These guys are going to be going 4 stories up in the stands and then haul and tail back down into the stadium. It is going to be awesome.
Man, there's some pretty exciting obstacles on this track, Ricky, and now that there have been bikes on the track, what do you think? All the work you guys put in, is it doing what you think it should?
Well, I sure hope so. Got a lot of good feedback from the riders, and it's not your typical Supercross track. It definitely isn't. A lot of big jumps, not your typical whoops in there, and I tell you what, I can't wait.
And Ricky, that fast sand section.
Yeah.
First, it took Mike Alessi. He goes down hard. Let's take a look at that right now. This is the first victim of this fast sand whoops.
Yeah, you can see how fast he's going, and augers in. You're going so fast, and you can't. It's really hard to get stopped.
Hansen goes down. He was the next one, and it looked like maybe a knee. And then look at Cunningham right here.
Wow.
Look at the bike go flying. I mean, you guys didn't design that section to make it dangerous, obviously, but why is it so hard for these guys? Why are they going down like that?
Well, I don't know. You know, we definitely make it to be fun. That is our biggest thing. That's what we want to do. And unfortunately, it's motorcycle racing
and
things.
Fun.
No, it's supposed to be fun. That's all of our dreams, is to make the tracks fun and make it good for the fans and fun for the riders. But unfortunately, it's claimed some victims. But hopefully, that won't be the case tonight in the race, and we can see some good battle for that $1 million.
Yeah, now we got to have these guys here on the start. It's going to be a pretty short start. Do you think the inside or is the middle going to be a spot to go?
Absolutely. I think the inside's the best.
All right. Well, more to come here from the inaugural Monster Energy Cup. Stay with us.
And that's what we are, ready to race. Guys are in the gate for the first heat. Look at that lineup, RC. Pretty stout.
It's good stuff. A lot of guys that you normally see in the lights class bumping up, riding the 450. You've seen Eli Tomac there.
Yeah, it's his first time on a 450. And look here, number 5 on the left of your screen, 2010 Monster Energy Supercross champion, debuting the orange KTM. I can't wait to see how he rides this thing.
Yeah, I can't either. It's a big jump. There's no doubt about it. I think it shocked a lot of people. It'll be good.
Oh, hey, it's our first tweet of the night. Amick, did you replace Huckabuck for the ME Cup here on Speed?
No way. Too many people like it, and I'm going to tell you that sand section coming down Monster Alley is a perfect scenario of what a Huckabuck is, what we saw earlier with some of those get-offs.
Look at that lineup, man.
Well, it has taken a long time to get here, to get this Monster Energy Cup put together from concept to race time, and now it is about to happen. We're going to drop the gate on the first heat. Yeah. What an amazing event. It has been incredible to watch it all come together, and now it's time to go racing live on Speed.
Was that a 350 there? Marvin Musquin actually on the outside.
Oh, Windham is down.
Not a good way to make the run for the $1 million.
Look at there. Brett Metcalf doing work early here, picking up where he left off.
Watch this, 90 feet double out here, getting up into probably 4th gear on those 450s.
Yeah, huge jump. Oh, you see a couple riders there getting off track, not being able to do that. They're going to lose a lot of time.
And they went way to the right, too. You do not want to be landed on off of those jumps.
I'm looking at Eli Tomac here. This is pretty cool for him.
Tomac on the 19, the Honda rider right there in second place. This is that tricky Sam section, Jeff.
Yeah, and they smoothed out. See how they took the dozer there and smoothed out those last couple. That's what was really giving everyone problems. And now for the first time, Metcalf is going to head back up into the grandstand. It has been a number of years since we've had a racetrack that came up like this.
You can see right now how they've groomed the track. They've put some water down on it. It's real greasy right now, the track is. And it's going to take a couple laps for these guys really to find their groove and not make mistakes. Really easy to make mistakes. There's that big double we're talking about, Ralph.
Hey, you know Tomac is happy to have 450 cc's instead of the 250 that he is used to.
You are sure right about that. Definitely not a lack of horsepower on the 450 tonight, and you're going to need it when it comes down to for that $1 million.
Over the finish line jump, Metcalf getting ready to head back out of the stadium.
Yeah, and you can see Metcalf. This is his second year on the Suzuki. Dungey here being a little tentative here. This is his first race on the KTM.
Let's go ahead and show you what happened to Kevin Windham. Watch for the 14. Down he goes. Jason Thomas runs right into him on the 47.
Yeah, and there's a lot of little marble-sized rocks in there, and you see right there, see Dungey, he's just kind of skating around.
Yeah.
The tires are not really digging in and sticking.
No.
And, man, how many tear-offs do you have to go through at this point, Ricky?
Well, they're going through a lot, Jeff, right now, and that dirt is really loose on top, and it's going to take them a couple laps to get it packed in. You can see Dungey looks like he might be planning a little attack here.
Yeah, but how about Tomac? What a confidence booster this has to be for Eli. And remember, just earlier this year in May, he made a run for the West Coast Supercross Lights Championship in this very same stadium.
Yes.
The championship went to Tickle, but both of those riders were incredible that night.
Remember, top four are going to transfer out of this. This is our first heat race. It's for 8 laps. So it'll be great if you can get yourself out of this, right into the show, then start focusing on those 3 10-lap main events that we're going to have later on. Remember, you have to win all 3 to win the Monster Million. If you just win the overall tonight, that's good for $100,000. Not a bad day anyway.
Well, and there's qualifying, Ricky, but then there's also qualifying and getting that better gate pick leading into the first main.
Tonight, and Jeff, you can speak for this as well as I can, when we used to race the U.S. Open, is start is everything. Gate pick is everything on a night like tonight when you got to win all 3 races to win that $1 million. I mean, it's going to be a premium tonight. It is every night, but really important tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, back in '99, Ricky, when we were battling for that, I remember thinking, I have got to get the start over Carmichael or I do not have the chance. And
I think you would have handled me for sure because you were on it that weekend, but that out, you know, hey, you got to have a good start.
Dungey really applying the pressure now to Tomac. There's Tomac on the 19. This is a fight for second. Here comes Dungey looking around on that Red Bull KTM. And every lap, Jeff and I had a chance to talk with Roger DeCosta, the team manager for the KTM factory effort. And every lap, Ricky, is a learning experience as they get ready to head back up into the hill section here.
Yeah, it sure is. Every lap is. And not to discredit what Tomac is doing either. I mean, he doesn't ride at 450 all the time, so he's kind of in the same boat. He really is. But I think this was good for Dungey to race this race on his new machine to learn how it works in a race situation.
Yeah. Remember, as you watch the names scrolling across the top of the screen, see Kevin Windham's name highlighted in red. That means he's not in that top 4 transfer. Here come the 4 highlighted in green. Those are the guys that have those tickets already to the main if they can stay there all the way to Justin Brayton. And then Marvin Muscan, he's 1 spot out of it, Jeff.
Yeah, and Ralph, you remember when we sat with Roger DeCosta, and he was very clear at the mindset for the team and for Ryan Dungey here coming into this event. If you're going to race, okay, it's not necessarily okay, I need to think win, but to put it into context, if you don't feel good and we need to get you more prepared on this KTM, then that's where we're at. If you feel like you can win the $1 million, go for it, right?
Yeah, and the top 3, just so you know, just ran their quickest lap so far this heat on that last lap, so they are getting better. And the other thing, Ricky, that Roger talked about too was if you don't succeed here tonight, you cannot, this is talking about Ryan Dungey who we're watching, you cannot let that carry over the next 2 months as we build towards Anaheim and the start of the Monster Energy Supercross season.
No, you got to take everything into account. It's your first race on the bike. You've only been riding it for I don't know how many times he's ridden the machine. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be way more prepared on the bike come Anaheim. But still, like I said, this is good for him to do this, and anything can happen. I mean, Jeff won the U.S. Open on a bike that he had only ridden for 5 days. I won the U.S. Open on a bike that I had only ridden for 5 days. So
yeah, and let's not forget at the top of your screen right here, this number 10. Justin Brayton, he's on a brand new Honda here also, and so these guys are picking right up where they left off. I mean, these are the best guys in the world.
But maybe that's why Brett Metcalf is kind of on his own level right now, because he's comfortable, he's on a bike he's familiar with, so maybe that's going to come into play.
Ooh, that would be huge. Brett is so due for a win here in Supercross.
Yep.
Brayton moving over to the Team Honda Muscle Milk organization, the Factory Honda squad.
I like this guy, man. He hasn't had anything given to him. He's worked for everything he has, and I like that about him. He's a hard worker, got a great head on his shoulders, and I'm proud for everything that he does and accomplishes.
Yeah, he's got a little pressure, though. Well, looks like Metcalf has a little pressure coming up.
He does.
Metcalf continuing to lead here, but they are closing in from second and third. Tomac in second, and what a run it could be for him if he could get a second in this. He could right into the mains. Boy, what a shot of confidence. Now, we've talked about how this is reminiscent of the Paris style and the uphill section at the old stadium in Detroit. But you know what? Tonight, I think we're going to call that Monster Mountain.
It's very fitting.
That's good.
Yeah, but see, Ricky, you know, Tomac's going to get aggressive here. Dungey's going to get aggressive, but there is barely a racing line that's grooved in right now. You move out of that line, and it is really greasy. Look right there. They're trying to just get inside the tough blocks when they go wide. They're just not getting the grip at this point of the track.
Yeah, but by tonight, when all the heat races have cycled through and all the other events that we have on the track tonight, it'll get those inside grooves worked in, and you'll see a couple guys wanting to be creative and making things happen when they need to.
You put the $1 million on the line, you're going to get very creative.
I know one thing. If it comes down to the last race, and I'm racing, and the guy in front of me is going to have a chance to win it, I'm putting him in the cheap seats, because if I can't win it, no one can.
Okay, now we do have a supplemental rules package for this event, which is very special, unique for this, but all other, you know, rules and regulations in the AMA, so if you have some rough riding, you may get fined, but if you win that $1 million, I'm not sure. It's not going to be a problem at that point.
The gloves are off for $1 million.
Yes.
If you can't win, wreck someone that can. That's all I'm saying right there.
I love
That's
it.
a great approach, Ricky.
Thank you, Ron.
Not that you've ever played, but
if you can't win, wreck someone that can.
I like that. Write that one down, bro. That's a good one.
That's the mentality for half these guys out here, guaranteed. It's that's why it's so exciting. You can see how epic this heat race is right now. We got three guys, one mistake, boom.
And it's
the
really
other thing,
equal.
The other thing, too, is a guy like Metcalf, this is a great opportunity to make a name for yourself going into the start of the Monster Energy Supercross season. What a huge amount of momentum he could carry with him throughout the offseason here.
He probably has, he probably feels like he has unfinished business from the last race he was here.
I think you're right. Well, Aaron, so many people have come out here to Sam Boyd Stadium tonight to watch this incredible piece of history being made.
That's right, Ralph. Brock Tickle is taking a look, watching, observing right now. Brock, what are your thoughts as you're lined up for your heat race, ready to go?
Yeah, you know, it looks like most of the race is from here to the first turn, so hopefully I can get that done and get out front and put a good show on for everybody.
Qualified fifth this afternoon, looking to take home that $1 million tonight.
Aaron, we just saw how one simple little mistake can make such a huge change here at the Monster Energy Cup.
Yeah, right there. Dungey makes the move on Tomac. It's okay. Kind of get the heart rate down. You get some time on this new bike, and now you're kind of starting to settle in. Dungey's going, wait a second. Okay, this thing's hooking up. I need to go for the win.
You can see Dungey looking back there. He made a little mistake out of that corner. Kind of bike stood up on him, didn't want to keep turning, and he thought Tomac was right there on the inside, but he had a little lead on him.
Yeah, and for Ryan Dungey, I mean, this is a completely different bike. I mean, it's not just switching from yellow to orange. I mean, this is going from an aluminum chassis on the Suzukis that he's always ridden. Now he's riding a steel chassis here on this KTM, and it's completely different. It's made in a completely different part of the world by an Austrian manufacturer. But they have big hopes for this team, and they chose a rider like Ryan Dungey because he's so consistently great.
Yeah, and you know one thing that's in his mind, that is his bike from last year in the lead, and I can assure you he probably wants to win on that new machine.
Yeah, you had a couple of scenarios in your career where you went from one team to another, and that was some motivation, yeah?
Absolutely. I think that's you always want to think that you've bettered yourself. So when you see the guy on your bike from the previous year winning, it's like, come on, man.
Well, and I mean, Metcalf came from that Geico Honda before he came up to Suzuki, but it looks like everything is working great. I mean, he is fit, he's very mentally tough, and right now this is the most focused, right, and consistent that I've ever seen him ride Supercross, and I think the Tickle was right. It's going to take the start here because this track has really equalized everyone, especially with all the moisture that's in it now.
Yeah. Well, and coming up for those 3 main events, that's going to be a huge advantage for Brett Metcalf because he's going to get a good gate pick if he can hold on and win this heat.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we talked about earlier in the heat race. That was all about. You can see Dungey.
Yeah, he's putting it down, and they finally have got down into the 129s, which I believe the fastest qualifier is about 128. So
working away on the final lap here. Can Dungey do anything? Can he take a shot at Metcalf? Handful of corners to go. Oh! Bit of a bobble by Metcalf, and there's Dungey. And that's all it took.
Here's the last turn. Is he gonna?
Dungey takes him up high, and Ryan Dungey gets his first win in his first race on his brand new KTM 450, and it's a big one because it sets him up perfectly to get a great gate pick for tonight's Monster Million shot.
And I'll take the other side of the coin on that for Metcalf. Oh, he makes one mistake. He was perfect all moto until then. Wow.
Well, one of the guys that is going to keep a lot of eyes on Ryan Dungey and everything he does tonight is Ryan Villapoto, who's standing by with Aaron.
Your reigning Supercross and Motocross champion, Ryan Villapoto, qualified first today. Ryan, you're lined up on the gate. There's a mixture of both elements on this track tonight. How deep are you going to have to dig to pull this one off?
It's going to be tough, you know, just there's 3 races, 3 10-lap races, and, you know, start's going to be everything, but, you know, we'll see how it goes, and, you know, the track's kind of tough. It's a little rocky out on the outside of the stadium. Inside, it's tight. So one line and, you know, the start, like I said, is going to be key.
You just saw Ryan Dungey for the first time racing on that KTM. What are your thoughts?
He looks good. You know, I think KTM's making a big push, and you know, I think with one of the best riders on it, I think they should make a lot of progress, and he'll be up there where he was last year.
Best of luck to you on your heat race.
Here's how it happened, Ricky.
Yeah, you can see right there. He lands wanting to accelerate, knowing that Ryan Dungey was hot on his heels, and you can see right here he just couldn't get quite to drive out to get the guy.
So here's the results. Top 4 transfer straight. So Dungey, Metcalf, Tomac, and Brayton will go. Everybody else will go on to the semis. And one of those riders in there is going to be, of course, Kevin Windham, who struggled with that crash in the opening corner.
We all know what last chances are like. We've seen a bunch of them this weekend, or this past year.
Well, we're just getting things underway here at the Monster Energy Cup. Stay with us. There's a Monster Million up for grabs.
You're watching the Monster Energy Cup live on Speed.
Back here to Sam Boyd Stadium. Crowd settling in. Just the first heat race of the night in the books. Plenty more racing action yet to go here. Don't forget, we got a poll question for you tonight. Which rider do you think has the best shot at that Monster Million? Is it Ryan Villapoto, Wyndham Tickle, Michael Essie, or maybe somebody else like Brett Metcalf possibly?
I think the 5 and the other might be the signal there.
All right, we'll go to speed.com. Go to speed.com, let us know what you think, and we'll give you an update later on what everybody's thinking. Heat 2's already in the gate. And you see the number 2. That's going to change to a number 1 when we head to Anaheim and kick off the Monster Energy Supercross season. Well, one thing the three of us up here in the booth can be accused of is some dumb things on wheels. And don't forget, here on Speed, we've got a pretty good show. Brings all that to you Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Dumbest stuff on wheels. We have an all-new episode for you coming up this Wednesday. Don't act like you've never done anything
My
before.
favorite 30 minutes of television every week.
Speak for yourself.
You could be starring on
You
that
guys
show
speak
weekly
for
if you wanted to.
Yeah. We should do a Carmichael special.
Yeah.
We could do it all.
I remember a boat in Dallas that was pretty good for that.
You can see Villapoto here. He's taking the inside. And
Wait.
Jeff, I was looking at that inside there. That's almost extreme inside there.
Yeah, because if you get out the gate about 30 or 40 feet and you run out of straight line.
Right.
So the straight line is actually about 3 or 4 gates out.
Yeah, like maybe where Tickle is there. You guys can see the number 20 of Brock
Freeze.
Tickle. Yeah.
He's got Freezy right next to him.
On the 45.
Yeah. I think where Tickle is probably the premier spot.
Four more riders coming out of this one. And don't forget, Michael Alessi took that big spill in practice today. Here we go, heat 2. Alessi on the 800 tries to get a great start.
Yeah, it's all about sneaking around the inside, Ricky. You see Villapoto.
Jake Weimer gets the whole shot on the 32. Here comes Alessi screaming around the outside.
Into second. Wow, goes around Villapoto on the outside. Alessi on this privateer back Suzuki. He is motivated for the $1 million.
He said in the press conference this week, in a very emotional response to a question I asked him about what it would mean to win this million, how far would you go? Jeff, he got really choked up because he is starting that team, and he said, I need this money to continue my racing career.
Hey, I've been there before. I felt that emotion that he was laying down, but earlier today in this corner was where he went down really hard. He has regrouped. Mike Alessi, he is a tough dude, and he looks great on this Suzuki. I like what I'm seeing, and I like the reason that he's riding. It's just going to give him that extra motivation.
Here he comes up Monster Mountain. Oh, and Villapoto tries to cut inside at the top.
Now that was an awesome move. That is very, very hard to do what Ryan Villapoto just did. You don't have a lot of room. It's tight. The bike wants to stall out. That was skill right there.
Yeah, and that's a brave move because Villapoto, he doesn't even have a lap yet on this track. He doesn't know where all those slick spots are. He's going to find out right now. Just testing it out. See as they get on the brakes there coming down into that turn. Oh, he makes a little mistake too.
Yeah.
Drops back a bike link.
He made a little mistake out of there coming out of that turn, but I am impressed with Mike Alessi right now. Look at him. He wants to set him up right now. Oh, I thought he was going to sneak underneath him. He's trying.
Watch him squaring it up.
Jeff, you can just tell from the way these guys are approaching things just on the opening lap of this heat race. Everybody knows points are not at stake here. They are not worrying about anything but $1 million.
Well, yeah, this is a true all-star event. It's one night of racing, the 3 main events, a lot on the line, and even if you don't win all 3 main events, there's still a $250,000 purse, $100,000 going to the winner. So that's a lot of motivation if you're Mike Alessi starting a new team.
Look at Weimer coming off the pegs, and here comes Villapoto inside. Got him. That's for second.
That was a nice move right there.
Yeah, it was. Set him up perfect. Textbook block pass right there. Nothing dirty. Just a nice, sweet pass.
Yeah, and Villapoto really, of the top riders that we have seen in Heat 1 and now here in Heat 2, he's the first one that's taken those chances to get out of that main racing line, okay, and really try to stick it in there.
Yeah, you're
That was
right.
a nice move.
See how quick he caught up to his teammate there.
Oh, he's sharp right now. He is just so quick on the throttle. He knows how to, he's got this interesting technique. He just knows how to just weight the back of the bike.
Like this here. Look at this move. Perfectly executed. We have a new leader here in Heat 2. Villapoto goes to the lead. Weimer, Alessi, and Ben Townley on the 101 holds down 4th in the final transfer. Partridge one spot out right now.
Villapoto just laid down the fastest lap of this heat. Weimer was at a 1:31, and Villapoto was a 1:29.4.
Wow.
So right there with that lead pace. Now, Villapoto was the fastest rider in practice. I think the track is going to be faster now at the end of this heat as opposed to heat 1.
That's Ben Townley right there on the 101 running in 4th. Boy, he's battled through a lot in his career.
Yeah, he sure has. You know, coming from a lot, you know, he had a spectacular year in 2007, and really since then it hasn't been what he had hoped it would have been. And you can see he's riding good here tonight and maybe trying to build up some confidence, get things going again.
Well, we saw the problems that Kevin Windham had on the track. How are things back in the pits, Aaron?
Looking a little frustrated right now, and as you see, that's Brian Kama, Kevin Windham's mechanic, working vigorously to get this bike in working order. But Kevin, you're on the sidelines. Take us through the frustrations and what you need to do to regroup now.
Well, this track's so difficult. I'm really disappointed about even if I come out of the semi with a decent finish, it's going to be poor gate position for the main event, and that's with a track like this. I think it's going to keep us all tight and hard to move through the pack. So right now we're trying to get this thing back going, bent some stuff up, having to make a shock change and stuff for semi qualification. So it's been a while since I've been in a semi, and hopefully we can get out there and have a good gate pick and give ourselves a shot at winning this race.
Las Vegas has been both kind and not so kind to Kevin Windham. We'll see how tonight ends up.
All right, Aaron, that was Ryan Clark on the 85 up on Monster Mountain. Looked like he was having some problems. No problems for Villapoto. He continues to lead here halfway through this second heat.
Well, look how he's getting the power to the ground. I mentioned that earlier. He's really good at shifting the weight when he needs to. Now, getting forward into turns to get the bite on the front tire, to get the bike turned around. Then he knows exactly when to switch his weight backwards to where he gets some bite on that rear tire and make that bike accelerate out of the turns. I mean, he just picks up the front wheel like 6 inches every turn.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You can see he takes his feet off the pegs a lot. And when he does that, see, he's starting to lose his balance. So when he loses his balance, instead of getting the bike upright, he just takes his leg off and he's able to keep the throttle on.
Battling here is Townley with Alessi, and that's Kyle Partridge coming into the screen as well. 3 riders now starting to battle over third, and if Alessi doesn't hang on here, he's not going to get the straight ticket to the main.
Hey, I tell you, the 76 here, Kyle Partridge, he's on a brand new ride here with Hart & Huntington Kawasaki. And he's local. He's a Vegas boy.
Yeah.
This is where he grew up, and he is feeling it on this slippery, hard desert dirt. He's been riding this stuff his whole life.
That's like riding in his house,
his backyard.
Yeah, I grew up racing his brother, Jason Partridge, and man, I remember when this kid was in diapers and he's out here going for $1 million. It's cool to see, and he's riding really good. I mean, he's going to set, looks like he could set Alessi up. I mean, he's all over him.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and what sort of bonus do you get from Kerry Hart in this team? You free tattoos? I mean, what's the deal? I mean, he's got so many sponsors on these things.
Well, you can have a good time in Vegas, that's for sure. And Kerry's putting quite a team together. He's going to have 4 riders competing for the Monster Energy Supercross Series this year, which is fantastic. Great to see that Hart & Huntington team getting bigger.
Very, very rocky in the back section, but it's still kind of loam on top, too, so...
Well, as you can see, Alessi doing everything he can to hang on with 4 to go to see if he can get a shot straight to the main. I talked about how earlier this week in the press conference, he was so emotional about how much this money would mean to him and pushing his team forward. Take a listen.
A lot of people don't realize how hard it is, the riders. You know, even myself, I've been a factory rider for so long, and to have to pay out of my own pocket to go riding and to pay $8,000, $9,000 for a motorcycle, bone stock, with no parts, no motor work, no tie bolts, nothing. It's it puts me in a tough position, you know, because in my course of my career, I've obviously made money. I've done pretty well for myself, but I've not done as well as obviously like Kevin. He's been racing a long time, or Ryan, you know, winning both championships this year. And for me, I didn't finish on the podium not once this whole season. I didn't make any bonus money. So for me to do good this weekend is really going to help me out a lot, and I definitely need it.
And the first step in that is to get into the mains.
Yep.
As quick as possible.
He's doing a good job. He does have some heat from Partridge, but he seemed to have pulled out a little breathing room here.
Yeah, I mean, you get that incentive right there. Like, wait a second.
Yep.
I need to get moving. I need to get going forward here. Possibly he found some better lines, or just turned up the intensity a little bit.
Yeah, you don't transfer out of that first heat there. I mean, you're asking for problems. You know, it just is on a track like this, a short start like this, anything can happen. We heard what Kevin Windham just said.
Yeah, sand whoops here. Alessi, you see, he's just kind of bouncing through there, and Partridge just carried so much more momentum. Alessi's a little bit gun shy.
I was going to say, Jeff, that's exactly where he crashed. Do you think that's part of the situation that plays in the back of your mind?
Man, it is, but they've smoothed it out. But it just, gets me to thinking that maybe they don't quite have enough time on the Suzuki with the suspension setup, and they're just not keeping the back of that bike from bucking. And Ricky, when the seat hits you in the rear, what happens to the throttle?
The throttle goes the opposite way.
It gets turned forward.
When the thing huckabucks, the throttle goes up, not down.
And that's the thing. Hey, if you can keep the back of the bike down and it's just driving across, you just feel like you can hold the throttle wide open and you can just hit everything as hard as you want. But when that seat hits you, it's like, nah.
Well, Fro, you and I stood down on the track in the opening practices today, and when the bikes first came out, Mike Alessi was by far one of the most aggressive riders in that opening practice. He was really letting it rip. And after that crash, it seems like it maybe took a little bit of the edge off.
Well, let's take another look at it.
Yeah, let's show you that again. Here he comes into that sand section, but it was at the far end, Fro, where things went bad.
Yeah, he hits that soft, wet spot there, and he tries to keep the bike on the track, but that back tire was just coming up too high, and he hit the ground really hard. And we watched that replay a few times. I'm telling you, he's got to be a tough dude just to still be on the motorcycle at this point.
He's got 2 laps to go here, and he's got a lot of pressure from Kyle Partridge. And Partridge forces his way past.
He parked him, Ralph. You can say it.
Yeah.
He parked him right there, and that was an aggressive move. He set that up by being fast through those whoop sections and carrying more momentum into the turn.
And that's what you're going to see here at the Monster Energy Cup.
Now let's look at it again. Watch this.
Take it, Ricky.
A little hesitant coming in. Obviously, he has the right for that, and boom. But actually, he didn't even.
He didn't really touch him,
didn't even touch him.
Yeah, but you got to know. Alessi has to know. He has to hear that Partridge is there. You should hear that. And he was lined up. I mean, he came into that turn way on the outside. I mean, he wasn't trying to protect his line one bit.
Yeah, but he's been going through those things. We all just seen the bad crash he had in practice, so he's probably going to be a little tentative going in there, and Partridge knew that and took advantage of it.
Problem is, there's 1 lap to go, and Mike Alessi is now looking at a much longer night of racing if he cannot get back around Partridge. In fact, Tickle now starting to close in and put some heat on Alessi as well.
Well, here we're back to the number 2, your leader. He's basically won everything this year. Look at how he goes through here. It's just amazing. He's turned a 127.4. I mean, Villapoto is absolutely flying. Weimer, Townley are 129, so is Partridge. And once you get to Alessi, he's at a 130. 3 seconds a lap off the pace. Villapoto is flying right now. It's amazing.
He's still ticking on all the great things that he did this year. I mean, he's had the perfect year. Supercross championship, motocross championship, motocross of nations championship. If he wins this, it gets no better.
No.
Yeah,
what a season.
So he's just running on, he's a very talented rider, and he's running on, he's just keeping the streak alive.
Be the greatest season you could put together. $1 million would be a great way to celebrate during the offseason. And Ryan Villapoto just took a big step for himself. He answered Dungey. Dungey said, hey, I'm quick. Villapoto said, I'm just as fast and I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Good ride for Jake Weimer here, bringing it in second place. And Jake and Ryan are both riding this new Kawasaki, which they switched to, kind of an unprecedented move in the middle of summer to next year's bike. So far, so good with that team.
And the first time they've run it in a Supercross setup, too. They've run it, the new 2012 version of the Kawasaki has been utilized throughout the outdoor season, but not in a Supercross setup.
GC Partridge there, 76, top of your screen. He looks up at the grandstand and waves his hands. He's got a big family and friend group right there. That was pretty cool. Pretty impressive ride for the local boy, huh, Ricky?
Yep.
There's Villapoto talking things over with his crew.
Wonder what they're talking about here. Talking about the track, how was the bike handling? What do you think?
Yep, all that stuff.
There's the 4 to go.
I'm thinking had a good heat race, 3 more 10-lappers, $1 million, quick work.
Yep.
What was usually the first thing you would talk about?
Well, I just say, you know, the first thing that comes to your mind is what you thought of the bike. Is there anything we need to do to make the thing better to win the race, the next race? That was the first thing.
You know, is there any dirt in my teeth?
You're just worried about the look, weren't you? So Michael Lessie ends up finishing 6th here in heat number 2. Plenty more racing to go. The Monster Energy Cup.
8 riders have punched their golden ticket for a shot at $1 million, but 12 spots are still up for grabs in the semi and LCQ races coming up after the break.
You're watching the Monster Energy Cup live on Speed.
Wednesday on Speed, you can catch an all-new episode of My Ride Rules. 4 car fanatics will face off in the wildest car competition ever. Don't miss an all-new episode. It's My Ride Rules. You can see it Wednesday, 9 Eastern on Speed. One thing we're really excited to show you here with the Monster Energy Cup this year is the Amateur All-Stars. And what you're looking at right now is the first of 2 moto main events for the Super Mini class. This young man riding out here leading this class, these are 112s, bike number 92, Adam Cianciarulo. And Jeff, this young man has been cleaning up in everything he's been racing, and at 14 years of age, just signed a 5-year deal to finish out his amateur career with Team Green, of course, racing for Kawasaki. And then once that's done, he's going to move directly into Mitch Payton's pro team, and we'll see him racing in Monster Energy Supercross in just a couple of years.
Yeah, well, you can see, I mean, he's riding this track at a pace of a 137. He's on what's called the Super Mini. Now there's the 85. He's got smaller wheels. This is the 112 Super Mini. And he's riding some fantastic laps, but it's also Cooper Webb, Green, Pierce, Young, Bell. This class is stacked. So the fact that he has a 6-second lead in this one, Ricky, that means he's really dialed in here tonight.
Yeah,
these kids are.
He is. You're watching the future. We have a lot of young, good talent coming up. Him being the best right now. I mean, you can see Cooper Webb turn the same fast lap time. He turned to 137 as well.
Checkered flag for Adam. You see the hands come off the bar?
Look at him revving it up for the fans.
Attaboy, Adam. He's such a bright talent, as are so many of these youngsters that you're going to see here tonight. They're all-stars in the amateur ranks, just like our all-stars in the pros that you're seeing competing tonight in the open class. And this guy here is quickly becoming a fan favorite with his personality, both on and off the track. And if you read his columns or get a chance to meet him, you'll understand why there's such a buzz about young Adam Cianciarulo. Well, Aaron, Kyle Partridge standing by with you, I hear.
That's right, you guys. This doesn't happen often, but I'm here with all 6'5" of Kyle Partridge. Kyle, you just finished 4th. You transferred directly into the main event. This is your hometown race, and not only that, but your first race for Hart and Huntington. How are you feeling right now about taking home all this money tonight?
I'm super excited. I just couldn't do it without any of the guys on the team. We've been working really hard the last few months, getting my bike ready. Dodge Motorsports, Hart and Huntington, Saquon, Bel-Ray, Shift. Everybody that's been a part of this, I can't say enough. I've had a rough couple years, and I'm super pumped to be part of a good program with Kenny Watson and Kerry Hart and my mechanic Sean, and I'm really, really excited for next year. And I just want to give a big shout out to Sheila Howe at the Saquon Indians Casino. Without her, none of this would be possible. My mom and dad, and thank you so much.
You know, a few years back in the early 90s, I got a chance to go meet a young amateur kid by the name of Ricky Carmichael, and he was pretty good back in the day, and we just introduced you to another one, Adam Cianciarulo. Well, the pits were really hopping today here at the Monster Energy Cup. Lots to see and do. An event in Vegas unlike any other we've ever had here. Now we're ready for some semi-racing. Back to the open class. These are the guys, of course, competing for that Monster Million. We're going to have 2 semis. There'll be 5 laps each. Top 5 riders will transfer out.
Okay, right there, third bike from the inside, French rider Marvin Muscan on that 350 KTM. He was to the first turn first, but he was stuck on the outside. Now he's got a better gate position. Remember, he missed qualifying by 1 spot.
What a bummer, man.
Well, we got a question here that was twittered into us from Braden Ambo. Thanks, Braden. What about suspension set up on a hybrid track? Jeff, we heard some guys went motocross style, some guys went supercross style.
Yeah, I would start with my supercross setting and soften it up a little bit for traction.
Here we go. Watch the 14. That's Wyndham.
I think Jimmy Albertson snuck by on the inside for second.
Nick Way getting the whole shot on that 27.
Uh-oh, some riders.
One rider down.
Uh-oh, Kevin Wyndham, look at there.
Wyndham second to the last. He's going to enter the track in a safe spot. That's Weeks. Wow. Going to the LCQ.
These guys are fighting for these spots, man. They do not want to go to the LCQ.
Hey, how about Nick Way, though, from the Michigan Mafia out front, leading semi #1 here.
There you see Kevin Wyndham fighting his way inside, trying to get around Jason Thomas on that 47.
Well, and for Wyndham being an early favorite to be able to take this thing, you see how important that qualifying spot in Moto 1 was.
Right.
And just how he said, that, I mean, it just puts in, a chain reaction of bad events.
Yeah, it sure does. One thing leads to another.
Wyndham got around the 47 of Thomas. Now he works around the outside of Portland, Connecticut's A.J. Cannizzaro on the 330. Gets past him.
Whoa, he's got a double over.
Oh, man, what a move by Kevin Wyndham.
That was awesome.
That was Plouffe, California rider. He made a mistake coming out of that right-hander, and it's really greasy. You got to get lined up for, I believe that was that 85, 90-foot double jump that Jeremy McGrath showed us earlier in the show. And Plouffe just went way to the left, and Wyndham did not hesitate. Well, let's take another look at it. Ricky, what do you see?
Look at there. He just pumps the brakes for some reason. You see Wyndham. Look at that. That is an awesome shot. Look how high in the air he is.
Yeah, and the riders behind him also checked up.
I'll tell you what, you're going to see Kevin Wyndham make some quick work of guys right here. I mean, he is not going to go to the last chance. There's just no way. So you're going to see some expertise riding right now.
Coming up in a little bit, we're going to send you back to Charlotte. The Cup race in Charlotte is just wrapping up there. We're going to have a special edition of NASCAR Victory Lane for you in a few minutes. We'll show you that live, and then we will bring you right back to Vegas. Promise you're not going to miss a thing, but we will have a special edition of NASCAR Victory Lane coming up in a few minutes. Right now, it's Sean Borkenhagen on the 78 that Kevin Wyndham is working on as he continues to work his way up. This would be for 7th. He needs 5th. He's got 7th. Here comes Kevin Wyndham up through the field.
Yeah, Borkenhagen knew that Wyndham had the line on him, and if he had tried to hold his line, Wyndham would have just plowed into him. And that's a really difficult section because you're on such an incline. He knew that if they made any contact there, good chance that both riders could go down, and then they definitely would be in the LCQ.
Yep.
Now he's going after the 38 machine. That's Chris Blows on that Hardin-Huntington entry. That's who's up next.
Look how the track has changed. There's even some dust coming up now.
That would be for 6th if he can get around him.
Look how rocky that dirt is.
Yeah,
you're just skating around. It feels like you got 80 pounds of air pressure in your tire and can't get the suspension soft enough.
Yeah, that's the thing about that suspension, setup. And that question that we had earlier off of Twitter is that, the traction's going to be really tough here. I mean, it's going to be tough to get it dialed in. And with the whoop section, to really skim the top of the whoops like what we had in here in May, I mean, you have to have that front suspension, Ricky, just like almost rock hard where it just taps the tops of those. But here you can soften it up. But Wyndham's always been a guy that is really good at the whoops, but he seems to be the only guy that can run kind of a soft suspension setup and be good across the whoops. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. And the softer setup will be better.
Aaron, we've heard a lot of what these guys think of the track. What are your thoughts from down there?
Well, guys, I was just speaking with Ryan Dungey inside the KTM rig, and he said the track is really come around from this morning. Really wet this morning, very slippery. He said it is a whole bunch of fun right now. He said, but the elevation part is all the way down to the plywood, so things are going to start to get a little bit slippery. But as of right now, he said they are in prime condition, and he's having a lot of fun.
There you go.
Well, and you know, we talk about this dirt. When we come back here May 2012 for the season finale of Monster Energy Supercross, we're going to have some new dirt to play with for that event.
That'll be awesome.
Because a lot of this is fresh.
Right. The dirt inside the stadium is really, really, really good. Obviously a little rocky here, but hey, you know, it's rocky in motocross, you know what I mean? And this is a hybrid track. You're going to fight some different elements, and you got to be good at all the elements.
Oh, and I'm telling you, for Wyndham, he still needs 2 more spots. And, Tough Block gets out there. That's a stroke of bad luck if you were going to hit that. But for Wyndham, it's starting to get a little frustrating here.
No problems for this guy up front. Nick Way having a great run in semi number 1.
No doubt about it. You see what a great start can do for you. You can get out and do, as they say, ride your own race. And as long as you can ride faster than the rider behind you, you really just can ride whatever lines you want. But if somebody comes up on you, that's when you got to start playing the game and protecting the inside.
Muscan, Albertson, and Brown all running right behind him, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
You know what's interesting about Muscan, who's riding that KTM 350, he's coming off of a 250, right? He's never raced Supercross here in the U.S., and so he gets on the 350 and is like, man, this thing's incredible. There's so much power. But you got to remember, he's got 100 cc's less. I mean, if you've seen the piston size from a 250 to 350 to a 450, it's very different.
Now that is right inside the KTM factory rig. Of course, that's Roger DeCoster straight back in the middle, and Ryan Dungey, who has already won his heat. That's the brain trust of the KTM factory squad, and they've already won a Supercross championship together.
Is Roger eating chocolate?
Go ahead, Aaron.
No, guys, that's not chocolate. He's eating food for champions. That's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they're watching us live on speed right now, trying to figure out what to do next.
They look fairly content with everything right now, I would think.
Dungey just won Heat 1. First race on the bike. Roger's smiling. Dungey's smiling. Everyone's happy at this point.
Nick Way's pretty happy too, leading.
You know what's cool is you can watch the race at the actual race you're participating in. That's pretty sweet. You know?
Well, I mean, this got that all-star event thing. There's no points on the line. Now that we're here and we started racing, I kind of feel like everyone has kind of loosened up, and I think that the energy from the crowd here, no doubt. I mean, there's people in from Canada, from North Dakota, Vegas, California, and now that everybody came here for this big monster Supercross party, everyone's having a pretty good time.
I'll take it a step further. I ran into some folks who came all the way from England to be here for the Monster Energy Cup. Checkered flag waves for Nick Way. He takes the win in semi number 1. And how close was Wyndham to making the straight transfer?
Hey, Weston Pike.
Yes.
5th place. He's in the main heat. This guy is pumped.
Got a shot at $100,000 for sure, maybe $1 million. There's Albertson on the 108. He's going through. Brown on the 53. Pike on the 43. All headed to the mains. Nick Way, semi 1 winner. Looks like he's doing it out of the back of a van here tonight. What would $100,000 or maybe $1 million do for that racing effort?
He wouldn't be in the van anymore.
Be a real good-looking van, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Buy you an easy up.
Yeah, get you an easy up tent. Semi 1 event results. There are the 5 names. Now everybody else below that still has a shot in the LCQ.
I think the biggest thing I'm looking at is Kevin Wyndham.
Yeah.
Shocker.
5 more riders can come out of this semi. It'll be another 5-lap race. This is semi number 2.
Well, check this out. On the inside, you've got Tickle, your West Coast champion. He won the title here.
That is the Monster Energy Cup right there. That's what everybody's racing for. And just below it, you see the $1 million. Taking him wide and up and over the tough blocks.
Little Hanny.
Josh Hansen having his issues here in the early stages of semi number 2.
Look at some of these lights riders that are in here, right? You've got Alessi with that hole shot, and then it looked like Nick Paluzzi. And was that, yeah, that was Tickle.
That's Paluzzi right there in second on the 72.
AMA Arena Cross champion, Tyler Bowers coming out here to battle. This is a way bigger track than what he's used to.
Tickle on the
circuit.
20 right there, having moved up.
Oh. I'm telling you, this track is so different. It's not, you know, with Supercross tracks and the test tracks, you practice certain things specifically. This is a track that you have to ride very instinctually, okay? You really have to think about it. It's just not your standard setup.
Oh, Tickle with an extremely hard landing.
He might have been thinking he was on that lights bike.
Giving a little too much throttle right there. And like I said earlier, he's got 200 more cc's, almost double.
Problems at the top of Monster Mountain.
Freeze.
Vince Freezy on the 45. Let's go back and look at what happened to Brock Tickle.
He lands at the worst spot, right in the pocket. I mean, at the bottom, at the bottom of the landing. Check this out.
Well, see, Paluzzi overjumps a little bit too, so he's kind of judging himself off of Paluzzi.
Oh, that is the worst way you can land.
Hey,
Poor guy.
Hey, how those forks feel?
Yeah.
Back in our day when they used to metal
That's
to
when
metal.
you don't want the forks too soft.
Get him right up in your chest.
And I'm still, unless he put in a really good heat race, I think he must have got arm pump or something, because, I mean, he's just walking away from this right here. I mean, he looks good. He's kind of back to his hole shot ways. Mike Alessi has always been known for his hole shots. And the last couple of years, he's kind of fallen off. But now that he's back on this Suzuki, I mean, he's been ripping them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's, like I always say, he's the second best starter in the history of the sport.
Number 1 would have been, as if we didn't know that one, right?
Doug Dubach.
Doug Dubach. As if we didn't know.
He was a good starter. I was teammates with him.
Speaking of Nick Way, he's standing by with Aaron Bates.
He is one happy man right now after winning that semi. It means you're going to the main event. You've got the opportunity to win $1 million tonight. Your mechanic, Big Nasty, he is doing nothing but polishing your bike right now. You're very happy with your setup. How are you feeling about moving forward?
Yeah, I had a great time out there. It was awesome to get the start and win that race. I mean, obviously there were some great riders in there with Musquin and Wyndham and all the other guys, so it was great to get my Mafia back, MSR Kawasaki up front, and kind of show those guys that you don't need the big truck to do big things.
That's right. You're pitted out of your own van right now. If you won that money, what would you spend it on? Would you at least buy yourself an Easy Up?
No.
You're happy with the setup?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate over my career to have been on a lot of great teams, and appreciative of all their help. But this year I'm going to kind of stick to my roots and do what I think's best. And if that's out of a van, then maybe I'll do that. But basically just trying to put some things together. But with my core group of sponsors, I've been behind me for years. Mafia and MSR, and my crew at Pro Circuit and things like that. So looking forward to 2012.
Yeah, congratulations on all your hard work paying off so far tonight.
While that interview was going on, you saw Brock Tickle get around Paluzzi to take over second place. And a reminder that coming up, the Cup race in Charlotte is coming to an end, so we will be sending you back to Charlotte for a special edition of NASCAR Victory Lane here in just a few minutes, and then we will bring you right back to Vegas. You're not going to miss a thing out here, but coming up shortly, a quick trip back to Charlotte for a special edition of NASCAR Victory Lane here on Speed. All right, back to the action here. Open class Semi 2. Working away towards the conclusion of this one. Mike Alessi still leads.
Yeah, but look at all these lights riders. You got Tickle, Paluzzi, Bowers, Arena Cross champion, of course, Seeley, Davalos in there, all battling. And Davalos, he's 23 right here on this Suzuki. Seeley's got the final transfer spot. Now we're going to see, now that this track's dried out a little bit, just how big nasty these guys can get, right? Because it's going to happen.
There's Paluzzi. There's Bowers on the 911. The 34 is Seeley, and Davalos right behind him on the 23.
And these other riders right there, Seeley and Davalos, if they try to get in there and push Bowers around, he's a big boy. He's from the Arena Cross Championship where they ride dirty, and you have to move guys out of the way. But Bowers, he's big. It's going to be tough to move him. You're going to have to just go right at it if you're going to try to make that sort of pass.
Only 2 laps here left, almost lap and a half.
Well, one thing that a lot of people talked about with this race, is the fact that, some of these guys aren't going to be seeing each other again for the rest of the year, throughout all of 2012, because they don't race in the same class. So you might make a move on a guy because you're not really worried about ever running into him again.
I wouldn't say that. It seems like you find yourself running back, crossing paths again. Look at this. Tickle trying to work him over here.
Tickle on Alessi as they come up Monster Mountain. Back down they go.
See, I'm waiting, Ricky, for somebody to use that line right there to just go straight down into it. It looks a little wet when you come down from there, and it's maybe not quite time to play that card, but that turn coming down out of the peristyle is wide open.
With about 2 laps to go in his heat races when Mike Alessi lost his transfer ticket. Let's see if he can hang on to it here in semi number 2. He's got 1 lap to go to hold off Tickle and maybe get that win.
See Tickle trying to work some different lines here. Looks pretty good. Staying a little bit lower in some of the corners, making a little wider exit or enter in the corner there.
Wide entering turn 1 is not good today, no?
No, it sure isn't. Look at that. Bam. Cool jump right there. Fans got to be loving it there in that Monster Energy VIP section.
Yeah, that whole area out there. Ralph and I walked out. See at the top of the screen all in there. There was a massive
problems
stage
for
setup.
Davalos. Davalos has problems as he comes to take the white flag.
Yeah, take it to the LCQ.
Yep. Look at this.
Battling to the end. Tickle carrying
inside.
a lot of speed. Tries to get inside. He's got the lead.
Are you kidding me? Did you?
Alessi tries to answer back. Can't get it done there.
That was an awesome pass what Tickle just did. And Alessi tried to counter and couldn't. Tickle leaned into him. That was awesome protection right there.
Down the
There
mountain.
you go.
What
See
does
that inside?
Alessi have to do here? Does he have anything in mind?
Oh, yeah.
See if he's still not.
Oh, that bobble killed him right there.
Yeah, that's going to give first away. But, Alessi, he's been wide in that turn. And Tickle, man, did he execute that turn so quick.
Checkered flag awaits him. Final corner. Brock Tickle will win it. Semi number 2. And a trip to the Monster Million main event goes to Brock Tickle. Mike Alessi will, however, get out of here with a transfer. Seeley, Paluzzi, they're all going, and so is Chisholm. Bowers just comes up short.
Now
what a strong move.
Watch this here. Watch Tickle. He sets it up. He's like, okay, and watch right here. When he gets on the throttle, bam, right here. Exits so quick. And Alessi, he just hesitated a little bit through there,
He did. He had a wrong exit line, and he was in the rough line, too. And you can see he tries to counter, but boom.
Hey, we seen Bowers come by outside of the top 5, and Davalos had a mistake there. I think that with
Put 2
one
and
to
2
go,
together, right?
I think there's a little contact there.
Could very well have been. There's a look at those top 5 going on. And Josh Hansen will join some of the others in the LCQ. Remember, we had a poll question for you tonight. Who do you think has a shot at winning the Monster Million here tonight? Could it be this guy? How about that guy, Kevin Windham? Go to speed.com. Let us know your thoughts. We'll have the answer for you. What everybody's thinking a little later.
Hey, I'm Jeff Emig. This is the all-new 2012
Wednesday night here on Speed. We got another episode of the car show for you. Adam's going to go tear up Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, his vintage car. Dan and Matt push an 840 horsepower supercar to its limits. It's all coming your way on the car show. Catch it Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, right here on Speed. More amateur racing going on for you. It's the Amateur All-Stars race number 1. These are a little bit bigger bikes. These are 250s, Jeff.
Yeah, and you're looking at, this is the future of the sport right here. Bell, now he's been signed to this Factory Connection team, and they got big plans for this ride. Of course, we've seen his little brother earlier in the Super Mini, but you can see right now, riders, these kids are so talented at Supercross. They watch so much, all of our coverage on Speed, and I know if I was this guy, I would have watched, hundreds of hours of it and visualized myself in that position. I mean, look at this. He could be in, a Monster Energy Supercross Lights main event the way that he's riding right now.
Zach Bell is the young man we're watching as he climbs up to the top here of Monster Mountain. And Ricky, as I pointed out a little while back, I met you years ago when you were just a young rider coming up to the amateur ranks at Loretta Lynn's, and you know how important that event is. Well, Zach Bell had the fastest lap of the week this year at Loretta's.
Oh, yeah.
Out of all the classes.
Yeah, he can ride. He can ride. He actually lives in Cairo, Georgia, where a lot of the tracks are. A lot of guys train and ride there. Just down the road from my place, actually, rides all the time. His dad used to race back in the day, and he's a good kid, too.
It's a great opportunity tonight to see these young riders and get an idea and introduce the fans to them, because someday they might be like that guy, Kevin Windham, who had a great amateur career. Aaron, he still hasn't made it into the mains tonight.
He has not. We tried to get a quick word with him, but he said he is late at trying to get down to that line for the LCQ. He is shaking his head in disbelief, saying, I just cannot believe this is happening. When it's a bad night in Vegas, it's an extremely bad night in Vegas.
We're talking about these younger kids riding these amateurs. I love watching amateurs with a ton of talent that are super fast, especially especially the kids on the 80s and stuff. It's so fun to watch ride and watch their talent. It's awesome.
Another rider right there, Austin Politelli, and then here's Cole Thompson on the 16. Jeff, you came up through the amateur ranks the same way.
Yeah, and we had the opportunity to ride the amateur day at the Supercross events, and I remember being on those tracks, and I started on like a 50, like a 65cc bike, and the track was so big, but it's all about being comfortable in your surroundings, and you're seeing a lot of the top kids coming through right here. A lot of teams are signing these kids early on, and this event here is, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a once-in-a-year opportunity to get valuable experience and be comfortable in this situation, because so much of it when you get to the pro ranks is being able to handle all of the nerves and all the pressure that comes with racing in a stadium.
That's Grant Ransdell fighting his way around right now, the rider out of Miller, Georgia on the Yamaha number 41. Right now he's running in fourth.
And you got Jesse Nelson right there, 79. He's running sixth, and he rides for that Troy Lee Honda team. Okay, another one of those situations where they're going to groom him to bring him onto the professional team when it's time.
Right. It's an awesome
and they didn't have that back in our days, Ricky.
No.
especially not in my day. You came through a little bit later, but you pretty much were on your own. And I remember Ricky showed up basically to the first race as a pro, and it's like, wait a second, who is this kid?
Yeah, the amateur programs weren't nothing like that, like the professional race teams. Like, they didn't have a feeder team, if you will. So look at that.
Yeah, he's
it out
there.
So when you actually make the jump from amateur to pro, you know all the guys, you know all the mechanics, you know how the bikes work, and that's key. And that's why I think these guys are so good when they make the jump now.
Putting in a pretty good time, too. A 1:31.3, his best effort. 7.8 seconds in front of Thompson. Cole Thompson holding down second.
That's pretty respectable considering the track isn't as good as it was, say, when, Dungey or Villapoto was on the track. That's pretty respectable.
Coming around to the checkered flag, the first main event getting ready here. Here he is, Zach Bell, checkered flag. He wins main number 1 in impressive fashion for this young man. Lots of more racing coming your way here from Vegas. Stay with us live on Speed.
There are only 2 open spots left in the main events, and we will fill the field when we drop the gate on the LCQ after the break. And later in the show, the fastest Supercross riders in the world line up to compete in 3 10-lap main events. Can anyone take home the Monster Million? Stick around and find out. Ralph, Jeff, Ricky, and Aaron will have the call. It's all ahead when Speed's live coverage of the Monster Energy Cup continues.
The biggest shocker of the night so far here at the Monster Energy Cup is the fact that this man, Kevin Windham, has not gotten a transfer into tonight's 3 main events, which would give him a shot at the Monster Million. Here's how his night has gone so far. Heat number 1, first turn, and the 14 is on the ground.
Not a good way to start off a special event like this. and it would continue on into the semis.
Semi number 1 right here, Ricky.
You can see right there, guy falls in front of him. He goes off course, tries to get back on, couldn't catch up and rebound. Look at jumping past as he got up closer to the pack. The riders were a little bit better, ran out of time, didn't make the transfer spot, so here he is.
Jeff, he's got one more shot. One last chance qualifier. 4 laps.
Man.
4 riders will transfer out of here.
You know, guys, Wyndham is a very Vegas type of guy. We all know that, okay? And every now and then you're down, and then you got to just roll the dice, and you got to go for it. And if you want to win anything, in Vegas, Wyndham is that type of guy. His personality is made for this event.
Oh, yeah.
Look, he's got the GoPro going right there on his chest. I think Wyndham's going to pull it out. I think he's in a great starting spot. He's towards the inside. But look who else is in here. You've got Blows, Freezy,
Hansen,
Bowers.
Here we go. The last chance qualifier.
Look at that.
Wyndham on the inside.
Looking like a 4th.
It's got to be 4th or better. He's in 5th right now behind Blows, trying to work that inside.
Oh, these guys, look at the players that are up there, Ricky.
Oh, man, this is, I'm telling you, there are no slouches here.
Oh, here he comes now, trying to get around the outside. If he can get one more spot around Blows. Back to the inside.
This is where now the track is tacky, Ricky, and those open turns, okay, this is where it's going to start to get dirty here when you're trying to go for that $1 million.
There it is. That's the transfer spot. That puts him to 4th. Now, can he improve on what will already be a miserable gate pick?
Absolutely. Look, he's going to do it right here. He's going to set him up.
Look who's
go down the
leading
inside. Doesn't make it happen, but he's right there.
Hansen out front. Little Hanny headed toward Monster Mountain. And here comes Wyndham. He cuts back to the outside at the top of the hill. Back to the inside. Freezy just took the line away.
Hey, Freezy's got a reputation, and that is why. He knows it, and he is absolutely going to go for it. This guy is an awesome motorcycle rider, but this type of event is perfect for him.
This is where we're, okay, you guys see what's happening here. Everyone's talking about, oh, it's one line, this and that. Well, notice how when the stakes are getting high, you start seeing all these other alternate lines. That's right. There's a little bit of dirt.
Oh, down goes Freezy. Freezy is down and out of it.
You never see Kevin Wyndham doing that.
No, only when there's $1 million on the line.
Well, I can tell you right now, Freezy ain't gonna win $1 million. He's headed to the house. Load that thing up.
All right, so let's reestablish here. Davalos is out front. Hansen is now into 2nd, and Wyndham is in 3rd and charging with an attitude. Here it is.
Check this out.
Watch Wyndham. He goes to the inside. He's already eyeing it up. Gets right in there. Slide. Oh, see ya. Freezy checked up. Freezy should have gone wide.
That was beautiful.
Look at this.
Now watch this. Freezy should have gone wide and stayed with it, but he stopped. Okay, Wyndham was going to come on the inside. I've seen that a little different.
No, but Freezy wasn't being too cool to him in this section. Just before that happened, he had it coming. And
now, would you look at that differently if it was a points race as opposed to an all-star event with $1 million on the line?
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have done that at a regular Supercross race, but this isn't a regular Supercross
race.
That's right. Here we go.
That's what's cool about it.
Now, how much more will he do? He's got Little Hansen in front of him. That would be for 2nd. Davalos continues to lead. Blows right now has the final transfer.
Hey, guys, that replay that we saw of Hansen going down earlier today, that was a bad deal. So the fact that he's even up right now, he could barely walk off the track. The fact that he's on the bike and still in a position to make it here to the main, that's pretty impressive.
And you talk about 2 guys that really are capable of doing good here in these main events. If they transfer, I mean, they get a good start, you know,
Well, Hansen had a rough day earlier this afternoon, Aaron.
He most definitely did. In fact, when I caught up with him earlier, he said that he did not feel like riding tonight. He only had 4 days on this bike to prepare. He was completely uncomfortable, but he said, if you do see me out there racing tonight, it is because Mitch Payton has forced him to be out here.
Ooh, interesting.
Get out there and ride that bike. Wow. But he's doing all right
Got a good
now.
program, yeah.
He's doing good.
Speaking of Mitch Payton, he and Kevin Windham tend to, shall we say, swap money back and forth at times.
Yes.
And they always pay up on those deals when they come to Vegas.
This
and
is
coming
great.
to Vegas this year, I saw Mitch at the hotel the other night. He said, hey, you got to tell everybody, I owed Kevin Windham $6,012 coming to Vegas. He paid him back just the other day in singles.
I seen it. I seen Kevin last night. He's like, RC, check this out. It was a backpack. The thing was so heavy. I opened it up. It's $6,012 of $1 bills. That's
Note
like,
to self,
all right.
don't do any strange dealings with Mitch Payton. Right?
If he don't make the main event tonight, that may be the most money he makes here.
That's right. White flag is out, 1 to go. Okay, now we're fighting for that start position. What can you do? Davalos, Hansen, Windham, and Blows. They hold the final 4 spots.
I say at this point, if you're Windham, you're not going to jeopardize a transfer position for a better gate pick. You just want to get in the main event the way that the night's going, right?
Yeah.
Hard to argue with it.
Come on, guys.
We've seen how good. We've seen how good.
You keep telling us you do. Davalos out front. He knows what he's doing right now, too. He's leading.
I can't wait for these main events because we've seen how good it was just in the LCQ when things had to happen.
Well, and the first one's going to be a barn burner because you have to win the first one to have any shot, right?
Absolutely.
So, we might throw it all away right here in the first one.
Well, and think about this. We've seen what happened in that first turn in the heat race. You know in the main event it's going to get, that first turn's going to be really intense. If you're one of these riders here that's coming out of the LCQ, you're lined up way to the rider's right, okay? Man, if there's a pile up and you can sneak around, I mean, uh-oh, here we go.
This for the transfer spot.
Closing in on Blows. That is for the final transfer. Aranda's on that 206. There's Davalos.
Hey, Davalos heading to the final turn here.
Good battle behind him. Checkered flag. Davalos is going. Who's going to get those spots? Hansen's in. Windham's in. Blows just gets to the line in front of Aranda, who will have to watch the Monster Energy Cup main event from the grandstands.
Hey, that was a pretty good effort by Aranda. He knew exactly what was going on. Wow, so close.
Everybody has his shot in main number 1. One guy will have a shot in main number 2. Main number 1's going to be intense. Freestyle coming up. And Boyd Stadium, Ralph Shaheen with you, and we've shown you some great racing so far, and they're getting ready now for the main event and that $1 million on the line. But while the racers are getting ready, we've got something for you that I think you're really going to enjoy. 5 great freestyle riders ready to go at it. And to call it for you, my good buddy Cameron Steele and Bo Bamberg. Have at it, guys.
Thanks, Ralph. Well, we're definitely ready to rock the house and throw the dice, as they say here in Las Vegas. Bo Bamberg joining me, and Bo, a professional freestyle motocross rider since 2003, starting at the X Games. This is going to be quite a show. 1 jump for each rider, 5 riders, $40,000 to the winner.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, Cameron. You know, there's a lot of contests where guys can take it easy, maybe 1 jump, feel stuff out, but this is insane. You know, you got 1 shot to nail that trick, and this trick is the biggest tricks out there right now. Some stuff hasn't even been done yet, ever.
Absolutely. Some of it has been done into a foam pit. We'll see if someone can put something new to dirt. Todd Potter in the house, Mark Monia, Jackson Strong, Cameron Sinclair, and Kyle Loza with a rumored bike varial or bike flip. It would be very incredible to see this trick, and rumor has it it's going to happen. Bo, I'm not sure what to expect, but let's go down to Jordan Whitley for more down on the floor.
Thanks, guys. As you mentioned, 5 athletes out here, 3 ramps. If you take a look at this first ramp, it's the standard contest ramp, 75 feet. Really, it's going to give these guys more hang time. I know Todd Potter hits it, and Jackson Strong as well, but watch the way Jackson hits this ramp. He's really going to need a lot more speed to do that front flip. And then we've got 2 super kickers over here. You got the Aussie super kicker for Cam and Mark, and then you have the American super kicker that Kyle Loza worked on himself. He put down the metal on the run up to make sure there's no loose start. We talked about the bike flip he's going to be doing, and he came up to me earlier and he said, I have named the trick and you're allowed to announce it. He's going to be calling this the Scarecrow. So if he lands the Scarecrow, history will be made, guys.
Well, it'll absolutely be history. We'll see if he can put the Scarecrow down. We'll see what all the other riders bring as well here at the Monster Energy Cup. Dirt Shark presents a best trick competition when we return here to Las Vegas, Nevada and the Monster Energy Cup. Welcome back inside the Silver Bowl here. Cameron Steele and Bo Bamberg calling the action for you. First up will be Todd Potter. He lives in Temecula, California, one of the members of the Metal Militia. And Bo, Todd's a rider who's had a lot of success with best trick competitions. He also has a lot of success at the X Games, 9 total medals. But have you heard of anything new that Todd is bringing here to the Dirt Shark Presents Best Trick?
You know, I saw a picture on Twitter the other day of Todd doing a huge heart attack flip, which is basically flipping your bike upside down and doing a handstand on it. You're pretty much facing the right way while your bike's upside down above you.
Now,
so I think Todd's probably going to do something like that.
I expect that we'll be seeing double backflips and many other variations. I say many. There's only 5 jumps going to happen here, of course. 1 jump for each rider, $40,000 on the line. Todd Potter will be first up. What do you expect to see from some of the other riders? Variations on tricks that we've seen?
Yeah, I do. You know, I know there's some front flip variations going down, double back flip variations. I'm sure Cam will have something with his double back. And let's see what Potter's got right now.
And Potter going into the 80-foot ramp jump. Everybody inside the stadium is now standing up. This is a different situation. Most of the time you get 2 jumps. This is a one for it all right here.
And there it is. Really, really good extension on that from Potter. That's a hard trick. That's a really, really difficult trick. The trick's been around for a little while, but man, not many guys can do it that good.
Now here's the thing we definitely got to point out, Bo. It may not be what we expect to see as a biggest trick, but if other people have sketchy landings or issues, Potter could nail it with this trick. Nice seat grab flip, good extension, spots the landing. Of course, the judges are looking for execution.
Yeah, that's great extension on that trick, but like we said, that trick's been around for a little while, and you know, we'll see what these other guys have.
All right, so Todd Potter's jump is in the books. So what we're gonna do now is after each jump, we're gonna go down and talk to the riders. So let's go down to Jordan, who's with Todd Potter.
All right, sorry about that. Now, Todd, you have just set the stage. Your very difficult trick. Not everybody can do that. We didn't know what you were doing coming in here. We knew what some of the other guys might be doing. Do you like keeping us on our toes?
Yeah, you know, all the other tricks are, they're really, really serious. So, like gearing up, all the guys are putting on all kinds of, look like they were going into battle, and I'm just kind of here having fun riding my dirt bike, and that's all I could do, you know?
Well, you always look like you're having fun. Guys, back to you.
All right, so Potter, we will get a score from him for the first time in freestyle motocross competition using the ISX scoring, instant scoring experience. 3 judges calling it. And next up will be Mark Monia. And now Mark has what I would say is one of the most incredible tricks in freestyle motocross, a front flip 360. Doesn't even sound like you should say it all together.
Yeah, you don't. It's not something you see every day. I don't know if the way he does it helps his rotation or what. It must, but it's a pretty amazing looking trick. It's sort of like a front underflip is how I would describe it.
Now, Bo, I want to ask you, you've done tons of best trick competitions, still doing competitions. Just last night, 2nd place in a best whip competition. The front flip, is it something that you've tried into the foam pit?
No, it's absolutely not. And to tell you the truth, Cameron, I don't think it's something I want to do, to be honest with you.
Only 4 riders have put it to the dirt, I believe, is the history of it. And Mark right now is going for his variation of it. Let's watch.
Yes.
You can hear the crowd. They absolutely love it. Monia, 28 years old from Australia, wasn't able to put it together at the X Games. Let's take another look, Bo.
Yeah, that is insane. The way he carves the ramp forward like that. And, I mean, I'm telling you, 5 feet above the landing, I didn't think he had it, and the thing comes around perfect. That is an insane looking trick. That's unbelievable.
And no matter how many times you do a trick in the foam pit, Bo, there's always that last 3 feet or 4 feet that aren't really the same as landing in the foam as the landing starts to drop away from you. It's got to be a really weird sensation to come around.
Yeah, it is. It is, Cameron. It's a lot different, you know, especially just the fact that there's dirt there.
And there's a score at 94, so that is going to put him in front. Let's go down to Jordan.
All right. right, Mark, the look on your face says it all. I saw you before. You were so nervous, and you finally came out here and you pulled it off. How big is this moment for you?
Oh, this is so big. Like, I can't thank anybody enough. Like, the guys from Monster, the guys from Fox, like, just putting this on, showing, like, best what, like, freestylers can do in, like, a best trick. It's awesome. Good luck to the rest of the boys. Like, I want to see them stick it as well. Like, I'm so pumped right now.
All right, well, congratulations. And I know that actually for you, they had to move the ramp farther out because the way you hit this thing, you're actually curving towards the middle. Just how technically difficult is that trick for some of us who have never been able to get out there and do something like that?
Well, I still can't explain how to do the trick. It's just, I know it like in the top of my head all the time, like how to throw off the ramp, and the ramp's got to be like kinked at an angle and all that sort of stuff so it gets around. And yeah, I'm still so happy. Like, I've thrown it twice in America now, and both of them didn't pay off, and now I've landed it, and so happy.
All right, well, your first year out here on the scene, definitely lighting things up, guys. Back to you.
All right, Monia stoked. The 28-year-old, the name of the trick is the carry-on, and he was able to put it together. And it looks like now it's time for our X Games gold medalist, Jackson Strong, simply known as Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko, he's definitely a little wacko too, actually. You know, I ride on the Krusty Tour with this kid. And he is not scared. He does front flips week after week after week on that tour, and he is not scared to take her down. So we'll see what he's got here, and keep your fingers crossed.
Getting some extra run in. You can see him going behind the Monster Energy Cup banners. Here he comes, 19 years old from Australia. He doesn't get the run in that he likes. He wants to hear the crowd is what he wants to hear, but not getting a good run in. And now let's talk about when you have a practice facility. I'm sure you do, Bo. You have a nice smooth run, and you don't have to jump over the start gate and line up for this.
No, not at all. You know, your practice spot, you want the ideal conditions so you can do it over and over, but it's definitely not like this it is here. But here we go with Jacko.
Jacko nails it. Wow. Jackson Strong. And he is going to claim it. Let's take another look, and I have to ask you, the 360 flip, the carry-on that we saw from Monia, the front flip off axis from Jackson Strong, or Jacko. What do you and it looked like, almost looked like just for a moment there, he didn't quite have the rotation started.
Yeah, he almost does what Mark does and kind of carves a little bit sideways off the ramp. And I would say that, you know, I might even put Jacko ahead of Minea because he had that tricky run in. That's like a whole extra trick in itself, is getting over the starting gate and coming around the corner like that.
Wow, so we'll see what the judges think, the ISX scoring, and we'll wait for it to come in. A 93, so it will not be enough. Right now, it's Monia who is leading this group. Jacko sitting in second, but only first pays. Let's go down to Jordan.
All right, Jackson Strong, you're the youngest competitor out here. You already have an X Games gold. Now, you had to take a second run up into that. Just how much speed do you need for a trick like that?
Yeah, off the 75-foot ramp, I know I got to hit the thing super fast, and I know it's hard. I had to come back from the backstaging and just, I gave it everything I had. I was a little bit nervous because of the run-up, but as if you're not going to do it, you know, when in Vegas. So I know if I win, I just need everyone to help me decide whether I'm going to put it on red or black.
Well, we're here in Vegas to gamble, and you know, sometimes you say in Vegas you get one shot, and you guys got it out here, guys.
Well, let's take a look at the scores where we're at right now. Potter with an 85.7. Jacko, who we just saw with a 93, missing by 1 point to equal what Monia did. It was only one jump and done, so right now Monia has to get through 2 more riders. I will point out real quick, Jacko on the longer jump, Monia on the shorter jump. Cam Sinclair now, also from Australia, a 3-pack of Australians. He also is one of the 3-pack of Metal Militia riders here tonight. Cam Sinclair, known for the double backflip, and we know he has variations.
Yeah, we've seen some guys go forward tonight, and Cam's really good at going backwards. So we'll see what he throws in with his double flip tonight.
And here we go. Amazing. And Cam Sinclair, it's amazing how slow he comes into the ramp. And unfortunately, a crash. And just got to hope for the best. We can just know that we have, there's great medical crew here. And these riders, I mean, Bo, you being one of them, freestyle motocross, a very tough sport. And he had all of the double rotation. It just seemed like just the landing maybe a little off axis.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's look at the replay here and we'll see if we can kind of pinpoint what went wrong here in the second rotation.
And you hear a lot of panic rev there, Bo, but I think that's part of getting the trick in full rotation. I don't think that's anything really out of the ordinary, do you?
No, I don't. You know, after that second spin, I think that's what would be hard about that trick is keeping it straight. It's hard enough to stay straight on a single backflip. So, you know, when you're throwing an extra one in there, that's got to be the hardest part.
And the Asterisk Mobile medical crew tending to Cam Sinclair will return to Las Vegas and get you an update in just a few moments. And welcome back to the Monster Energy Cup. You're taking a look now at the jumps that we have seen in the Dirt Shark Presents. Best trick, that was Todd Potter who got it started with the seat grab flip.
And here we see our leader, Mark Manea, with his what he calls a carry-on, which is sort of a front underflip.
And Jackson Strong
there with the 75-foot flip. And, you know, just the run-in impressed me, how he had to go over the starting gate. Cam Sinclair here double flipping. Looks like he gets a little sideways right there on the rotation. It just doesn't quite have the rotation to get all the way around.
And there is Cam Sinclair, the medical group taking care of him. You can see him talking and moving around. So we only can hope the best for Cam as we get set for our last rider.
Now this is going to be intense.
This is going to be intense. We're expecting something never before seen at any competition, never before landed in the dirt, only to have been practiced into a foam pit. This is Kyle Loza. Do not ever doubt him. He has it put together. 3 gold medals from the X Games, inventor of a number of tricks. Tonight we are rumored to see the bike flip.
Yeah, this is, you know, if he lands this, man, you guys pay attention because this is going to be history in the making, and here he goes.
Here we go, people. Oh. The good news is Loza is walking off fine.
He's up and he's fine, and you know, that's all you can ask for when something like that goes wrong. He just looked like the bike didn't want to come around that last second. It was a nice pop off the ramp. It looks like he kicked it away, and it just, here we'll see the replay right here, what happened, and gets a nice pop off the ramp, goes to grab the seat, and it looked like he missed his grab maybe.
It did look like he missed the grab. It looks like he's got to grab and pull it back underneath and watch from behind. You can see the bike off to the side. He needs to grab and pull it back under.
Yeah.
He elects to push off. Presence of mind to push away from the equipment. You don't want to land with the dirt bike.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you don't. And, you know, I'm no stranger to having my bike upside down and backwards and stuff. But when it comes to, you know, I want to be on that thing when it's doing it so I can bring it back.
Amazing. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to put it together, but amazing nonetheless. Let's go down to Jordan and talk to Kyle Loza and see what he was thinking.
Well, guys, I was chasing down Kyle Loza. We got to get the lowdown on what happened here. Now, Kyle, you were up there in the air. You almost were able to pull it off. What happened?
I think I just got a little crooked off the ramp. You know, it's a little different than at home, but you know, I don't know. I think I just pulled a little crooked, and then by the time that rotation gets around, and if you're any crooked, you're basically screwed. So yeah, I guess this whole sport's just about being tough as nails. So thanks a lot, and I'm trying this again next time I get a chance. So peace out.
All right, Kyle Loza, tough as nails, guys.
And he talked about his practice facility at the Saddleback Church, and it's definitely a little different when you bring it inside the stadium. These are your results. You can see them. 5 riders, only 1 leaving the Monster Energy Cup with $40,000, and that's Mark Monea from Australia with a score of a 94, just over his fellow countryman Jackson Strong with a 93. Bo has a pretty amazing event, and I think, Bo, when you watch it, you just got to be stupefied with what you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, being a professional freestyler as I am, even what these guys are doing, these guys are doing, you know, maybe 5 tricks that only these guys can do. So it was amazing to watch. And, I got to tell you, Cameron, I'm glad that I was just playing guitar tonight and not having to do crazy stuff like that.
Absolutely, and I'm glad to be in the announcer's booth for sure. Speaking of announcers, let's go down to Jordan, who's with our winner.
That's right, guys. I'm here with a cool, calm, and collected Mark Monea, and I've got to talk to you a little bit. That trick was so tough. You were so nervous earlier. How confident were you coming in knowing that you could pull this off?
I was confident, like I can land it. I knew that. The only bit was scaring me was the last time I didn't land it and I got knocked out, and like that was at X Games, and that scared me a lot, but I'm just so happy now. I'm lost for words. I want to thank Dirt Shark and Monster for putting this on so much. Like, it's what the sport needs, so we need more of it. I want to give it up to my best mate, Cam Sinclair. Like, I'm so disappointed, like devastated in that he crashed. Like, he's done it that many times, and yeah, but I'm super pumped to win this. This is awesome.
Well, congratulations. $40,000 was on the line. You had one shot. What was that pressure like?
It was unbelievable, but I actually wasn't thinking about that. All I was thinking about was landing it. That was my whole goal. And yeah, now I did it, and I'm just so pumped.
Well, congratulations. Here is your trophy, guys. I'll send things back to you, and we will have an update on Cam Sinclair very soon.
And of interesting note, of course, good mates from Australia, but Mark used to be Cam Sinclair's mechanic just 1 year ago. So that's going to do it for the Dirt Shark Presents Best Trick. Amazing event, especially for Mark Monea, who brings home the $40,000.
22 riders have qualified to race for $1 million. 3 10-lap sprints. And if one rider captures all the checkered flags, he goes home with the Monster Million.
Watch me do my thing, I'm about to do my thing. I keep it moving and I'm proving that I ain't gonna stop.
The drama of the Monster Energy Cup heats up right after this commercial break.
I think it's awesome that Monster stepped up with this prize money. It's a very tough feat to win all 3.
It'd be pretty incredible to walk out of there with all 3 main events and $1 million. And I mean, that's a pretty big payday.
There's a lot of talent and a lot of racing between now and then, and it's going to be difficult for anybody to win.
I think the Monster Energy Cup this year is going to be just a huge spectacle for our sport.
Well, I've never raced for $1 million before.
It's an opportunity to go to Vegas, and it's an opportunity to win $1 million.
You know, to have motocross and supercross combined into one event.
I think everyone's going to be going for it.
Even to win the race, if you don't clean sweep, is $100,000, which is huge incentive for all of us.
Obviously, it'll be difficult.
If you don't win the first one, you can't win all 3 to get the $1 million.
I think it'll definitely make for some good racing.
It's never really been seen before.
It's going to be cool for the fans to check it out.
Saturday night, it's going to be exciting.
A chance to win $1 million in one night.
And I think everyone, if they tell you they're not thinking about the money, they're lying.
RC, never in the history of this sport have riders been had a chance at $1 million.
No, they sure haven't. That's what's so unique about it, and definitely got to give it up to Monster Energy and Feld Motorsports. It's an amazing opportunity for these guys. It's going to be good.
Here's what the fans think. We asked you, which rider do you think has the best shot at taking home that Monster Million? And a lot of folks went with Ryan Villapoto. 55%. I'm guessing somewhere in that 21% is Ryan Dungey, huh?
That's kind of what I'm thinking, but you never know. We've seen how exciting that last chance was, and that was just to make it to the main.
There's that $1 million sitting right there at the starting gate. Now, we told you about how Ricky and Jeremy both got together and designed this racetrack. Well, just moments ago, Jeremy took a look at it. Here's his thoughts of how it's going to shape up for the mains.
All right, guys, we're back in the sand section, the same section we talked about earlier today. This section is proving to be really tough, getting gnarly, getting bumpy, and today in practice it took out a few guys. These guys have quite a challenge on their hands. Should be a good section to watch tonight.
3 main events. Let's show you the format of what's in store if you want to win that Monster Million. 3 main events, 10 laps each, 22 riders. It's Olympic-style scoring, which basically means lowest score wins. You get 1 point for first, 2 for second, and so on. The $1 million bonus is only available for a rider if he wins all 3 main events. If you just win the overall with the lowest score, you do take home $100 grand up front.
That's a lot of cash. And I'm telling you, see all that money up there, that's all $100 bills. That's 22 pounds worth of $100 bills.
You know,
make up $1 million.
$100,000 isn't nothing to laugh at, guys.
Oh, no. Keys to the race, Ricky, yours first.
Yeah, I think the start right here.
Pro.
Right aggressive, let's do it.
There's our Rocky Mountain keys to the race. Time to go. Main number 1 for the Monster Million at the Monster Energy Cup.
Looks like Villapoto out front with the hole shot.
Ben Townley right there with the 101. Mike Alessi on the 800. And Brett Metcalf is right there as well. Where's Dungey? He's back at about 5th. You have to win the first main to have a shot at it.
90-foot double jump right there. And look at Villapoto. He has been so good this season. You can tell he is so focused. Look at that, airing out that, looks like a little triple right there. He's going to lay down some hot laps right here, Ricky.
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
not sure anybody can catch him.
And you know what the biggest thing is? And he probably has in his mind, this isn't 20 laps, it's 10 laps, so he can hammer it. You can see how hard and aggressive he's riding, charging down the backside.
Yeah, Dungey working on Metcalf here. That's a fight for 4th.
Yeah, but you do the math on these lap times, about a minute and a half, 10 laps. That's going to put you at about 15 minutes. So that's about the time.
Dungey getting inside on Metcalf there. Boy, that's getting aggressive early. Dungey trying to get that pass done. Couldn't get it completed. Metcalf holds on to 4th.
Metcalf being awfully stingy now that the Monster Energy Cup is in the main event stage right here. You know that Brett doesn't want to make that same mistake that he made on that last lap of the heat race. So try to keep the Suzuki dialed in here, get himself a good finishing position in the first main.
Kevin Windham, how's he doing here? Looks like he's running back at about 20th for now.
He is not having a good night. In fact, another guy that's not having a good night is the 100 of Josh Hansen. He said the goal is just to make it on that first turn. He has crashed every single first turn except for that LCQ. He crashed earlier in practice. He tweaked his left knee. He ended up getting a shot of Toradol in his left buttock, and he said it is extremely painful, but he's not riding in any pain right now. These two made a bet with each other. Kevin Windham said, Josh, what's your game plan? Are you going wide? Are you going short on this start? Looks like both of these boys have a lot of work to do as of right now.
Windham is now up to 19th, but it looks like his dreams of $1 million here tonight have come to an end.
Unfortunate, because I had a lot of my money on him. You know, he's always so good at this track, or at Vegas, but this track being a little bit different, maybe not quite as technical as a normal Supercross, but this is a hybrid track. It's not your same average everyday Supercross that these guys are used to riding.
Yeah, and you can see Dungey right now, who was so fast in qualifying practice, won that first heat. You can see that this track not having your standard whoop pad, okay, that gnarly set of whoops that we see in Monster Energy Supercross, it's a bit of an equalizer, so everybody's kind of running a similar pace. Now they're going to have to really get creative in these turns to try to make a pass, and they've also gone out with the dozers and all this stuff and fixed the turns, so they're a little bit loose and not really worn in. See these guys right there slipping and sliding around when they get out of the line, but later on in this main, the track's going to be a little better for passing.
Alessi on that Rockwell back Suzuki number 800. He holds down 3rd. The Rockstar Makita Suzuki, that's the factory bike number 24. That's Brett Metcalf. The other factory machine, the orange one, the KTM, Dungey, running in 5th.
Yeah, and remember, Dungey and Metcalf, they've been teammates for the last year on that Suzuki team.
Look at Dungey going to set him up right here. Watch this.
Go to the inside, square it up.
Tries to make the move, and he's got it. He's going to get Alessi at the same time. Alessi with problems.
Alessi opted to go to the inside, Ricky, and then just could not carry any momentum. Remember, Alessi got past there twice in that same spot. So now he says, okay, wide wasn't working, so I'll just try the tight inside. And his momentum and speed was so low, he got passed by 2 riders.
Yeah, that was bizarre because, you know, Metcalf wasn't right on him. And Dungey capitalizing. Check it out.
Yeah, watch. See, look at Alessi. He's going, okay, I'm just going to stay out of that groove altogether.
Oh.
And that makes it tough for Metcalf, who was stuck kind of on the outside in the line. And then Alessi comes over, and he can't triple out. So
yeah, he needs to make,
there he goes.
He needs to make quick work, yeah.
There you see Ben Townley on the 101. Townley right now running in second on his Pro Circuit Monster Energy Cowie.
Ricky, do you see how bad Dungey's getting in there trying to turn that KTM?
Yeah.
Front wheel is just plowing. Yeah. It's like gravel out there.
Yeah, there's
it's
no
loosening
grip.
up so much.
Yeah, no grip whatsoever.
How about Townley, though?
Yeah, putting a command performance here.
And again, guys, going back to all the hardships that Ben Townley has been through racing here in the States, not racing here in the States. And I go back, Jeff, a few years ago when Townley and Villapoto were both running in the lights. One of the best battles for a championship I think I've ever witnessed. Of course, the crown ended up going to Villapoto, who's leading right here, right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But Townley back on a team here, this running this Pro Circuit Kawasaki. He had a lot of success with that team, and he looks great on this bike. And I mean, look at this. He's running with the best right now.
Yeah. There's Dungey putting in a strong ride here. Took him a couple laps to get by these guys, but he's been able to make quick work of them and start charging forward.
Villapoto's best lap so far, 127.0. Dungey down to 129.1. Townley a 129 flat.
Yeah, but watch this lap here. Dungey's just getting ready to come past the finish line, and he just did a 128.9, so a little bit quicker, a couple tenths. I expected something better than that.
That's Weimer, Jake Weimer, and Eli Tomac running 6th and 7th.
I'll tell you, Eli looks amazing on this 450. He looks like this is his primary bike. Of course, he normally rides the 250F, Supercross Lights rider.
He's on that Geico Power Sports backed Honda. Big news there is the fact that the Geico team switching over to the Yoshimura suspension set, or pipes, I should say, Yoshimura pipes. And Jeff, that's going to make a big difference in bringing this team even closer to what the factory Honda squad is running, because they're basically almost exactly the same in parts now.
Yeah, and I've always thought that it's interesting when competing teams are using, I mean, you know, Pro Circuit, they supply numerous teams with equipment, okay? And Mitch does a great job for every team that he works for. But I've always thought that it would be a little strange to be getting equipment from a team that you're trying to race against. And so now they're going to take that equation out, go with Yoshimura and the factory team and try a whole new effort, because as you know, that Pro Circuit team has been strong and they've been tough to beat. So factory connection, switching it up.
And I talked with Eric Kehoe, team manager for Factory Honda, about that, and he said that is a huge part of the plan, getting everybody running a lot of those similar pipes like the Yoshimura pipes and pieces and parts like that. So it's a big part for Factory Honda all across the board, even though the Geico team is a satellite team.
Yep, absolutely. They're all on the same page.
And what a great opportunity for a guy like Eli Tomac to get an opportunity to run here tonight with the bigger riders from the Supercross class to get an idea of where you stand as you start mapping out your growth.
I think he's doing a great job. Look at here, you can see Dungey kind of creeping in here on Townley. They got 5 laps to go. I think he'll eventually get there to his rear wheel. I tell you what though, Dungey, if he wants any hope at just $100,000, he's going to have to catch up to Townley here and pass him.
Yeah, definitely needs a second. You know, but this is, you kind of think of this as like a triple crown type of event. Low score wins. Best score you can get here is 3 points, as opposed to when we race Monster Energy Supercross and we go off of a point system where you get 25 points for the win. It's simple scoring. Low points wins, and one bad race can throw that whole, you know, that trifecta off right here.
Dungey's got 5 more laps to go. We are halfway through this first main.
And I'm telling you, Villapoto is on rails. He's got a 10-second lead.
Wow.
He just went past the finish line right now. So, yeah, he's 10 seconds flat. And, I mean, he's a couple seconds a lap faster than these guys, so you add it up.
Yeah, I would have thought these guys might have been a little bit closer to him on lap times, but that just shows you how fast Ryan Villapoto is.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. But, I mean, this is a very impressive ride here for Townley on this bike. But, you know, Dungey, he's pretty strong, and as he gets more comfortable and more laps, you know, under his belt with this KTM, I got a feeling he's going to be a force to be reckoned with once again.
Well, when we talked to Roger DaCosta earlier today, I asked him outright, you know, is it realistic for you to battle for the championship this year? And he said, absolutely, I expect nothing less.
And I believe that Austria and all of the key players at KTM, I believe that they expect the same type of success. And they put a huge effort into this team. And we did speak with Roger some about what it was like way back in the 80s when he went to Honda, then in the 90s when he came to Suzuki, and now to KTM. And he says, I don't have to ask them for any support. They are supplying anything that they can give me. So it's not like a budget thing. They're going, Roger, take the team, get who you want, and make it happen. And he's got 3 great riders, Dungey to ride the 450, Muscan and Roxon will be on these Supercross lights.
Muscan. I thought it was Musquin. Wow. Muscan.
While you've been off going in circles, we've been doing.
Yeah, you've been doing your homework.
We asked Marvin, and that's what he said.
Cool. Well, from the horse's mouth.
Speaking of, Muscan's rounding out the top 10. He's got the KTM 350 in 10th.
Look at the background. Metcalf's kind of creeping in there.
Yeah, he is getting right back into this mix, isn't he? We're still watching Townley and Dungey battling over second, but Brett Metcalf trying to join the party. Well, Ryan Dungey's giving a pretty good run here, Aaron.
He most definitely is, and I'm here with Carlos Rivera, Ryan Dungey's mechanic. Carlos, take us through how testing's been going and how Ryan's been adapting to this new bike.
So far, he's doing very well. He's been in the bike for about 8 days, and he's actually doing very good. So we'll see what happens.
Not much time at all to dial in a motorcycle, and it was just late this week that they actually committed to coming here.
Yeah, he sure did. I didn't think he was doing it, and then right at the last second, he did.
Wow, I mean, they're still battling here, and Dungey's not making any aggressive moves. He's kind of just been following behind. And I mean, think about it. Villapoto's out front 13 seconds right now, and so for Dungey, he doesn't want to do anything, you know, stupid, but it's time to get aggressive with 3 to go and try to at least get second in this event, in this main.
Here he comes inside. No.
We've always known Dungey isn't the most aggressive rider. We've seen it in Supercross seasons in past. You know, he picks and chooses a spot, you know.
Well, he's really starting to ramp it up a little bit. Can he get the drive?
Downley messing with him a little bit.
I got to think now that we're into this race here, 10 minutes or so, I would say that Dungey's fitness is going to be his strength, okay? Townley's been off the bike quite a bit. Not sure where he's at with that. He hasn't shown any, you know, kinks in the armor right now, but time for Dungey to dial up the intensity.
Yeah, I mean, he's all over Townley right now. I believe if he got past him, that'd be all she wrote. But I think
there he goes.
Might get it right here.
Ooh, hey, those things are getting a little square edges in there.
Yeah, they are. You see, Dungey's bike looks like it's kicking a little bit under braking there. Little Townley's kind of, when he's braking, the bike actually stays a little bit more, it settles down a little bit more.
Ricky, you've done a lot of riding and training with Ryan Dungey. Does the bike, we talked to Roger about it, because the bikes are so different from when he rode the Suzuki, they couldn't use the same basic setups that he was used to doing. Does it look like it's a bike that will work with his style?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I don't know anything about the KTMs whatsoever. You know, like Jeff was saying earlier in the broadcast, that, you know, it's totally different. It's not Japanese made, it's Austrian made, and I have no idea. It's a different, you know, steel frame as opposed to aluminum frame, so totally different.
Yeah, no problems with this one here. Ryan Villapoto out front. He's led every lap of this one. He wins this one, he gets that 1 point. Remember, it is simple scoring. Lowest score wins the overall tonight, and if Ryan can win all 3, he gets that Monster Million.
And they talked earlier about that Kawasaki being fully equipped and race ready, and I think it's because Ryan Villapoto is riding it tonight. I mean, this guy's dialed in. It doesn't get any better than this. And, you know, everybody was kind of concerned. You know, he just got married a couple weeks ago, maybe taking a little time off where he'd be at, but, you know.
Right.
Lap time is telling the story right here. He grabbed the whole shot, here in the first main, and he's turned the fastest lap time. He's still 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody.
Yeah, he just looks perfect. I mean, hitting his marks everywhere.
And remember, this is the first time they've run this new 2012 bike in Supercross form, and it looks pretty solid and should be giving a lot of people fits as we get ready to head to Anaheim to kick off the 2012 season of Monster Energy Supercross. You'll see that live here on Speed as well. Final lap to the checkered. He is a third of the way to the Monster Million. Villapoto wins main number 1. Here we go, Townley and Dungey to the checkers. Dungey couldn't get to him. Townley will take second. 2 points for Townley, 3 for Dungey.
Telling you, for Dungey, he just needed to be a little more aggressive there, but that tells you what type of track this is, Ricky. That, I mean, Villapoto, he's the fast guy to grab to start, but if he doesn't get to start, is he going to be able to work his way through the pack? Because it looked a little hard to pass there in that main event.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Let's go take a look at our Dunlap replay of the race. It'll be from the whole shot.
Wow, just got a wheel on everyone. And look at Alessi out there. Townley was there. A pretty good start right there.
Yep.
That's the way to do it when you go for the $1 million, I tell you that.
Wow. Taking a look at how they came across the finish line jump. Simple scoring, so it's basically exactly where they finished is how many points they take out of that first main. 2 more mains, 20 more laps of racing yet to go. For the 100,000 overall or $1 million if Villapoto can take the next 2 as well. Aaron.
Concentration, motivation, and determination written all over Ryan Villapoto's face. Ryan, this track keeps adapting changing all day long. How is it that you're adapting?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, the outside is kind of technical with the rocks and being really hard packed. Inside, it's kind of a typical Supercross track, but it's all in the start. I mean, I got a hell of a start there, thanks to everybody at Kawasaki and then Dunlop. So 2 more to go. We'll see what we can do. It's going to be tough.
You're 1/3 of the way to that Monster Million. How are the feelings going, and how excited are you at this point?
Yeah, it'd be awesome to win, but you know, I just want to make it through this weekend healthy, safe, off the ground, and I'll be happy.
Ryan Villapoto, the first and only guy eligible for that $1 million.
Well, it's a lot easier to come out of it healthy and safe and off the ground when you're up front and leading by over 12 seconds when you come to the finish line.
Yeah, that was a fantastic ride. I mean, he did exactly what he needed to do. He rode aggressive, and he got the whole shot. Yep.
And that's what he hopes to take home. You get to keep that trophy for a whole year, by the way, if you win here tonight. And then you bring it back to Vegas next year, and we'll put it up for grabs once again. We'll be right back to Vegas. Well, these fans right here have their favorite rider. They're cheering for Ryan Dungey, and Ryan, of course, was a big part of the silly season. We know where he's going, Factory KTM. About the rest of the field.
While the Monster Energy Cup signals the end of the 2011 racing campaign, all eyes turn to the 2012 opener in Anaheim just 10 weeks away. We know the Fast Five from last season. All race winners will once again have their eyes set on a championship run. Trey Kennard returns from injury on board his American Honda machine for his 2nd season in the Supercross class, but this time with a new teammate. Former Gibbs Yamaha rider Justin Brayton has joined the Honda effort. Kevin Windham will return under the Geico Honda tent for a 17th season. Last year's highest finishing Honda rider was 22 Motorsports' Chad Reed. At this point, Chad Reed, the owner, is not sure which brand of bike Chad Reed, the rider, will be racing. Reed did make a significant move this offseason, hiring multi-time championship mechanic Mike Gosler to work on his team. 2010 champ Ryan Dungey has left the brand he grew up on to join his mentor at KTM. In leaving behind the factory Suzuki effort to rejoin Roger DeCoster, Dungey is in a position to provide the Austrian factory effort with its first serious title contender. Brett Metcalf is the lone factory rider in the Makita Suzuki pits. The biggest offseason domino yet to fall is once again James Stewart. It appears the San Manuel effort is no longer, and Stewart is once again a free agent seeking a factory team to ride for. Rumors swirl around him continuing to do his own team or riding for Suzuki, or perhaps with Joe Gibbs Racing and back on a Yamaha. Whatever he decides, Stewart and the rest of the field will be trying to dethrone champion Brian Villopoto, who once again will compete on the Monster Energy Kawasaki, along with teammate Jake Weimer. But the Kawasaki camp is not without change. Just last week, longtime team manager Mike Fisher was let go after guiding the team to both the Supercross and Motocross titles. Villopoto is looking to be the first back-to-back champ since Ricky Carmichael in 2005 and 2006.
Well, that's a quick look at the silly season. It's been a wild one. We'll have all the answers when we get to Angel Stadium, but we'll be right back with more from Vegas. Adam Cianciarulo looking to make a big name for himself here tonight. He's looking to take the Super Mini Race 1 and 2. This is his second main event of the night, and he's leading this one from drop of the gate to the checkers as well, Jeff.
Yeah, and earlier today, somebody was trying to tell me that they thought that Adam could jump that, 85, 90-foot double there on a Super Mini. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have the skill to do it, but this little bike, trying to get hooked up out of that.
I kind of like the line he's taking now on that little thing.
Yeah. Checkered flag waves, and Adam Cianciarulo, who, as we told you earlier, has a 5-year deal. Finish out his amateur career with Team Green, Kawasaki amateur program. And then the young teenager will go straight to Mitch Payton's Pro Circuit organization and move right on to his pro career.
Direct path. The kid has got skill. All those kids do out there.
Oh yeah,
or else they wouldn't be out there.
Yeah, these are the best Super Mini riders in the world right here.
Cooper Webb right there on the 175 came across the line in second.
Yeah, he kept them honest.
Blake Green and Aaron's right there with Adam.
What a day for Adam Cianciarulo. Adam, 14 years old, coming in here. You said it was a dream come true just to be racing inside a stadium. You just pulled off a victory. What does it mean to have all these fans cheering for you?
Oh man, it's unbelievable. You know, having the best Super Mini riders here and be able to beat them on a track that my heroes designed is amazing and something that I never thought would happen. So I'm just pumped on the whole deal. Got a good start, and you know, let's start to finish. Can't ask for anything else.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Well, you know, Ricky, what do you do now if you're grooming a kid like Adam? I mean, this is a big opportunity for all these guys, Cooper Webb and everybody, to get that exposure, that experience, like you said, racing on a track like this.
You know, I think the biggest thing is just keep them on the right path mentally. You know, not let them get too big for their boots, and you know, and just keep them on the right track and breed them for the future and what it takes to win Supercross and Motocross championships, and keep a good head on their shoulders.
Well, Adam's going to get to meet Gemma Lee Farrell, who, by the way, is the Miss Monster Energy Cup. Congratulations to her on winning that title. There is the top 10, how they came across the line. Take note of a lot of those names. You'll be seeing quite a few of them over the years, in the coming years.
Yeah, our future's looking pretty good for
It's not
Supercross.
bad, is it?
No, I mean, a lot of talent.
A lot of great racing yet to go. We've got 2 more main events to see if that guy can make $1 million here tonight. Stay with us on Speed. We're trying to make some history here tonight in Vegas.
You're watching the Monster Energy Cup live on Speed.
There's the starting line here at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. Riders getting ready for the second of 3 Monster Energy Cup main events. Now you're in the office. Fro, Ralph, and RC getting ready to go here. We hope you've been enjoying this history that we're making here tonight. The Monster Energy Cup, Fro, for the first time. What do you think?
I think it's been really exciting. I mean, all of the different elements. We've seen the future stars, of course, that freestyle contest. That was crazy. The heat racing all the way down to the LCQ. Now somebody has to step up in this second main event. They have got to knock Villopoto off, because you give him that type of momentum, he's going all the way for the $1 million.
What's your line there, RC? If you can't win,
wreck someone that can.
Let's see what happens here. I love that.
I'm just going to throw that out there. I got it from Hornet Abe, so I'm ripping it off of somebody, but
Yeah, but I like Dungey's starting position right here. Tomac is quick. Metcalf has been quick, but those guys have got to do something. They've got to get to the first turn before Villapoto. You cannot let him ride his own race.
No, you can't let him even get close to the front.
Yeah.
He's firing on all cylinders. I do question how far outside he's starting right now.
Yeah, but look at the gate. Look how deep those lines are, right? You can get a good drive. I mean, see that line that Metcalf is in? That thing had a big hook to the right after it drops into that hole, Rick, and then it had that big kick. So staying straight all the way across the gate is going to be really difficult.
There's a good look at what the riders see. There is Gemma Lee Farrell, Miss Monster Energy Cup. Congratulations to her. The Nuclear Cowboys hole shot is around the corner.
Go.
All right, this is it.
So much pressure on Villapoto because he has to win. He has no choice here but to win if he wants to stay alive for that Monster Million. Getting ready to drop the gate. Villapoto with another great start. He's going to get that hole shot. Dungey's right there trying to get to the inside. Metcalf coming with him.
Well, Dungey, let's see, he's got that wide line.
He's got second clear now. He cannot allow Villapoto to just check out and start to gap them.
Here we go. This is what we want to see right here.
Yeah. This is going to be a big moment here to see just how comfortable Dungey is on this new KTM, and if he's got anything for the new champ.
Wow, he's trying to quad that thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty big leap right here. So I'm wondering just how much Dungey is going to hang it out right here. Yeah, is he really going to go for it? Did they make any changes to the bike?
Yeah, I don't think if he does, he can catch him. I mean, look how far he's gapped him already.
The last two Monster Energy Supercross champions running 1 and 2. 2010 and 2011 champions.
Tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with what I'm seeing from Villapoto tonight. He almost looks like he's riding better tonight than he was at some of the Supercrosses earlier this year.
Yeah, he's looking pretty fluid at this point. He's got to keep his head together, which, Villapoto has always been such a great rider under pressure. And you got to think that million being on the line and all that, that's a very pressure situation. I mean, he is exceptional when it comes to that. He just has a way to just zone out, and focus on what he needs to, take all of the distractions and get rid of those. That's why he's such a spectacular athlete.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he lets too many things upset him, never has. He just goes out there, does his deal, and rolls with it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he rides on emotion, right? No. He keeps all of that in check and just stays very level-headed. He keeps his emotion and everything out of it.
Not a boisterous guy in any way. Oh, Michael Lessie having his issues.
Well, of course, this knocks him out of the million, but there's a $250,000 purse for this event, too. So you get on into 10th place there. There's still a lot of cash to be made, cash that he needs. Yeah. And with this type of finish, man, he's going to be way down in that purse breakdown.
Wow, dude, this guy's checking out.
Ricky, how much of an issue, we talked about it in our feature piece where they discussed the silly season. How much of an issue is it going to be for Villapoto with Mike Fisher not be the team manager when we get to Anaheim?
I don't think it matters so much. I mean, I don't know Mike too well, but obviously right now it doesn't look like it has any effect. There are great people out there. I think that they will find to replace him, and life will go on.
We did talk to the folks at Kawasaki about that at the Monster Energy Factory team. They are searching for that replacement for Mike Fisher. Expect to have an answer on what their plans are in the next couple of weeks. Here's Aaron.
Michael Leslie's shaking his head in disappointment. What a day it's been for you. A big crash during practice, and now right out of the gate, you're having a mechanical. Walk us through what happened out there, Mike.
I don't know. Right as I came over the gate, just immediately the shifter was broke. You can see it right here. Just frustrating. I had a good jump, and as soon as I went to shift, it was gone. It just broke off. So hopefully do better the third moto. We'll go back and change the shift lever. So just how good stuff happens. Bad luck.
Best of luck for the third main event tonight.
Guys, that is the shifter never breaks unless you wad it into something, right? I mean, for that part like that to fail, that's like a $30 part. That is got to be frustrating.
That's Ben Townley on the 101. He holds fourth. Eli Tomac on that Geico Honda, charging hard from fifth.
Remember Tomac, he was fifth in Moto 1.
Adam Cianciarulo cheering on his heroes.
That's cool. Look at Tomac, man. That's pretty cool.
Tomac's here.
There it is. Inside move on Townley.
Wow.
Nice pass.
Watch this, though.
A little retaliation coming up here.
Trying to get there. Clean. Can't get it done. Tomac pulls away.
Well, remember the race here that we had in that Supercross Lights finale, that West Coast finale. Tomac and Tickle, who were battling for that title just a few months ago, they were coming through the pack, and it was, I mean, it was scrambled. These guys were all over the place. So Tomac got a lot of experience, at least here this year, with that type of riding, trying to block that inside.
Ricky, one thing we haven't really talked about, you and Jeremy McGrath spent so much time designing this track. Are you happy with the way it's playing out?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I'd like to see a little bit more side-by-side racing, but we went with a unique design, some bigger jumps and things like that. It could be a little bit better, but you live and learn, and you improve it for next time.
Well, I'm not the only one that wants to ask you a question. We got a Twitter question for you, Goat. Do you think Villopoto's going to run away with it like you did when you were on top of your game?
I don't know. Obviously, right now he is. There's no doubt about it, and he seems like, you know, he's just taking all this momentum that he's had all year and carrying it on, and it seems that he's going to walk away with it. Yes, it does at this point right now.
Thanks to Sean J. 185 for the tweet.
But you never know. It's all in that start, too, you know.
Our system of bringing riders from the amateur ranks like Cianciarulo and those guys that came through the amateur all-stars and the Supercross Lights and then on up to Supercross right now is exceptional, and it seems like we don't just graduate like one superstar. It seems like there's 3 or 4, you know, extremely talented, you know, riders with a lot of determination. They've got preparation, and I think it's how they are making that transfer, like with Zach Bell going to the Factory Connection Honda team, already having experience with that team, and then when he turns pro, he's already had his mechanic, he's already been at the test tracks, and so it helps make that transition even easier.
Martin Davalos looking for a pretty good payday here today. He's running in 8th here in race number 2, chasing Jake Weimer, Villopoto's teammate on that Factory Kawasaki.
Pretty solid ride here for Davalos inside the top 10. He's got to be happy to be here riding this event. I mean, he's had some ups and downs here, and he's a rider from Ecuador.
Right.
And he's always been a real Supercross specialist, and especially at the beginning of the series when we race Monster Energy Supercross, he always comes in as one of the favorites, but he seems to not be able to put the pieces together with bad luck and things like that. So hopefully gaining experience riding in the premier class, like what we have here today in this all-star type of event, is going to help him once we hit January of 2012, because he will be a veteran and he's got a lot of Supercross Lights main events under his belt. Yeah. He's going to be expected to win.
No, absolutely. You know, you start to run out of time, you know, and you don't live up to your expectations. People start to kind of give up on you, really. So, and it's frustrating because he's such a great kid and he rides really good and shows a lot of promise at times.
Eventually the excuses of it's the equipment or bad luck or whatever run out, and people just assume it's you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can only blame it so many times on certain things, you know, and with this sport, a lot of it is on the rider, not like different sports, you know. It's there's not really anything to blame because all these machines are pretty good.
And that's one of the beauties of the sport as well.
Yes.
And let's take a look at our Dunlop replay from this race.
Watch this here. Villopoto just so focused, and it's a close one because you got Metcalf, Dungy on the inside, but Villopoto just gets a wheel on him.
Hey, Jeff, he didn't even shift. He left in second gear the whole way. Maybe that's the thing. Everyone else is shifting up, and he's just leaving it in second.
Hey, these 450s, they will run and run on them RPMs. Ain't like in our old two-stroke days. And that thing signs off and starts to over-rev. Oh, the horsepower decreases so much, so quick.
And look at how he is just charging, man. So much intensity.
And that's got to be a great feeling because they have this new 2012. They just kind of started with the suspension
What year
specs
is
and
it?
everything. It's 2011.
Oh, okay. 2011.
No homologation rules needed for this event.
Oh, problems for Townley. Ben Townley's Kawasaki having its problems.
Shaking his head there, looking at the front wheel, possibly something happened to the wheel, maybe flat tire.
Yeah, the flat.
He's talking about the bike.
Second in the first race. Oh, there goes the monster, well, not the Monster Million, but that 100 grand for winning. Out the door.
And that will certainly increase the amount of money that Dungey's going to take out of here. He's running second right now. He's looking at a third and a second.
That's pretty smooth.
See that throttle control?
Let's find out what the problem is with Townley. Aaron is with him.
That's right, you guys. Very disappointed, Ben Townley. Ben, the last time we saw you race Supercross was here in 2007. The look of frustration. Take us through what's going on with your bike right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Something's either wrong with one of the wheels or the disc or something, and I'm not willing to risk it, to be honest. It's when I'm in the air, the gyro isn't straight. Something's moving, either on the front wheel or the rear wheel. And I actually thought I had a tough block cover caught, and it's not that. Something it keeps happening on the two big jumps, and yeah, I don't want to carry on. So.
What a disappointment for Ben Townley. He did say to me earlier that would rather be on no other bike than a pro circuit.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So what he's talking about is when he's in the air on those big jumps and you get a chance to kind of rev it out and the wheel's moving back and forth, right? So it's shaking the bike around and you know, hey, it's not supposed to do that. Like he said, he didn't know if it was on the front or the rear. They were taking a look at it. At first I thought he was going to say that the rotor was bent and that the front wheel was locking up, but he didn't mention that.
Yeah, there might have been a piece of dirt on the wheel. That'll throw it off and make it wobble. You see that. Sometimes you get some mud on there. Obviously not much mud on there, but and with his injuries that he's had the last few years, quite honestly, I don't blame him.
Right, and with the Monster Energy Supercross season just weeks away from getting started in Anaheim at beginning of January, he has to keep that in the back of his mind.
This is a man of the hour right here.
Boy, and what you talked about it earlier. Everything he has already won this year.
Yeah, he's working on the perfect season, man.
What a year!
No, this Supercross season, Supercross Championship, Motocross Championship, Motocross of Nations Championship, and if he wraps this up, you can't win anymore.
Hey, in my career, it was up and down. There were some bright spots, there were some low spots. Ricky, you had a pretty consistent high spot going, but what I really enjoyed about when you were in those moments, if it was the first year of winning championships, you don't know if there's ever going to be a second year. And like with this opportunity here to be at this event, this inaugural Monster Energy Cup, you never know if there's going to be another one. I'm saying, as far as the rider. And so you got to go out and you got to be focused and you got to race every opportunity that you have. I mean, the thing that I always wonder about, too, is only a few years ago when Villopoto had that really bad wrist injury, and they took out the navicular. And I remember hearing that, hey, his wrist might only last a few years until the bones start moving around. Well, are we into that situation?
I'll tell you what, the way he's riding, if I'm Brian Villopoto, I was wishing Anaheim was next week.
Oh.
Because he just looks like he is so in the zone.
Yeah, but I don't think Ryan Villopoto is wishing that.
No.
Right now.
Physically, he probably would like the break, but boy, he looks like he is on the top of his game. Which also brings up a question too, Ricky, which falls right in your lap because you've had seasons like this. And we see it in other sports where a team wins a Super Bowl or World Series, and then they have that bit of a championship hangover, and it's tough to repeat the next year. What does Villopoto have to do over these next 10 weeks before the Monster Energy Supercross season begins to stay in the zone he's in tonight?
Yeah, he has a lot to do. Well, number one, he's going to want to take a break, and then before you know it, it's time to start testing, and you start your training camp, you know, to prepare for 2012. So you really don't have much time.
But what did you do mentally to keep yourself focused like that?
Well, you just plan on things, and you put yourself in a position where you know where you have to be and things you did wrong the year before, you know, the previous year, and where you can improve. That's what I would do.
Final lap, Jeff.
A couple laps ago, Dungey was up around 9 seconds. Dungey's actually closed it down to about 7 right now. I wonder if Dungey's found some better lines. Villopoto doesn't seem to be slacking off at all at this point, but Dungey's right there. This is a solid ride because he had to come past, you know, a couple guys in that first one and kind of struggle, but hey, Dungey's setting himself up for this final race here. Now, Villopoto will get first gate pick in this one, and if I'm Dungey, I'm going, okay, if I feel comfortable, I'm going for it in this third main.
Checkered flag. He's 2/3 of the way to the Monster Million. Ryan Villopoto has done it again. Dungey improves from race number 1, a second here in race number 2.
And only finishes 6.5 seconds off the lead that time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't give the million away quite yet. We still have one more main event to go.
Because if you can't win it, Ricky.
Hey, if you can't win it, wreck someone that can.
You go.
There you go.
And there he is, the Monster Million. All right, Aaron, he's got 2 of the 3.
That's right, he does. Cool, calm, collected still. Ryan Villopoto. Ryan, you are just charging it out of the gate. Are you doing something special to get these amazing starts?
No, you know, just staying focused. It's tough, short start, so start is everything out here, and one more to go. Like I said, the goal is here to leave here healthy. If I win, then great. If not, gave it a good shot.
2 for 2, one step closer to that Monster Million.
22 pounds worth of $100 bills.
Wow.
Well, he said that's really, really what he wanted. The trophy's nice. The $1 million is so much better. And when you just got married, there's a lot of things you can do with the $1 million, right?
Yeah, but you get both. You get the money and the first name on the cup.
Yeah. There it is. That's what's on the line. Download the free Speed app for your phone. Keep speed at your fingertips and fuel your passion for racing between events with Speed on your phone. You get the latest stats, results, news, all of it as soon as it becomes available. Just download the app from iTunes or the Android market now. Back in action with the Amateur All-Stars. This is Justin Hill. Now, in race number 1 with this class, we saw Zach Bell on the 100 dominate. Justin Hill now putting on the show here in Moto number 2. This is the younger brother of Supercross star Josh Hill.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of skills. I spoke with Josh last weekend about him, and he says, man, you should see him at the Supercross track. So now we're getting to see the opportunity.
I like his style. Dude, he's silky smooth. He's making it happen. Dude, he flows so good.
Yeah, and Bell, who won the first moto, was back in 6th. He's gone down, but this class has kind of been switch-swapped around there, and that just tells you how much talent is in this Amateur All-Star. Now, these are A and B riders riding 254-stroke bikes.
Of course, big brother Josh still recovering from his injury. Spoke with him earlier today. He said he's back to riding. He's been on the 2011 bike. Just been on it for a couple of weeks now and getting ready to switch to the 2012. He's going to be riding for Kerry Hart on that Hart and Huntington team.
Good for him. That was a gnarly wreck he took.
Yes, it was.
Glad he's all right. Back.
Looks like the Hill family might have a little something to celebrate here.
Well, and what's interesting, I mean, their father, I mean, he still rides pretty good, and so they get a lot of that skill and everything they've learned from their dad. You know, it's a whole family that rides.
And that's what it's all about. That's why we start. That's what's so one of the very cool things about this sport that we do. Look at that, man, dude. He's flowing.
The Big Rick, has he got anything on 2 wheels?
No,
he's not. Just a 4-wheeler guy.
He wasn't that great. He's more of a four-wheeler guy. That looks like a cool jump right over there, over the tunnel there.
I expected some riders to triple or do something different through there, but just kind of a double.
Yeah, if you do anything different, it'll mess you up for that last jump there. So, seen a guy going off the track in the background there. Back on, he didn't wreck, he just went off.
Justin Hill on his final lap on the Monster Energy Kawasaki Team Green entry.
So this is going to be a sweet win right here. This is a solid ride.
Bell, by the way, who won the first one, is in running in 5th. Politelli, Thompson, Covington, and then Bell, the top 5. And there's a checkered flag. Moto number 2 for the Amateur All-Star class goes to Justin Hill in a big win here tonight, live on Vegas.
Yeah, it's pumped. Yeah, it's got to be so cool to race in an atmosphere like this, amongst all these fans.
Yeah,
right in front of some of your riders you look up to. And
yeah, well, think about all these guys, you know, they're 14, 15, 16 years old right there. They're high-fiving each other. You think they're not stoked to be here at the Monster Energy Cup? We didn't have the opportunity to race an event like this.
No.
Man,
well,
so cool.
It was, you know, the first time you guys had that opportunity was when you went to Anaheim for the first race of the year. And, you know, so much pressure there. Here you get a taste of it in a bit of an easier, lighter environment. Gives you a chance to get a taste as you get ready to venture off into your pro career. Well, you can see that Hill family resemblance there, right?
Yeah,
The bright
they
smile.
all look the same. It's cool. Yeah.
That's a good group of talented motocross riders right there. We're going to be calling them
Will
soon.
we make some history? Will Ryan Villapoto win the Monster Million? It's coming up.
After 10 months of competition, the final main event of 2011 is ready to go to the gate. One last chance for glory. Can Ryan Villapoto complete the sweep and capture the Monster Million? We will find out when our live coverage returns to Las Vegas right after the break.
Back here in Las Vegas, here are the results from the Amateur All-Star Race number 2. Justin Hill taking a win. Austin Politelli going to cross the finish line, jump right behind him in second. Zachary Bell, who won the first one, finished 4th in this last one. So here's Aaron with our winner.
Justin Hill following in the footsteps of pro brother Josh Hill. A big moment for you tonight, taking that victory. So much hard work put into it. Where does this moment rank, Justin?
This is a big deal for me. I mean, it's in front of all these people, my brother being here and everything. It's pretty exciting.
I think he's speechless, you guys. He's very happy. Take a look at that smile.
Good night for Justin, and could be a fantastic night for this guy, Ryan Villapoto, trying to win $1 million, trying to win the first ever Monster Energy Cup, trying to have a perfect season. And Jeff Emig emceed the press conference on Thursday of this week. Of course, Ryan was a big part of that. Check out this exchange between Ryan and Jeff.
So, name on the cup or the cash? I know you've made loads of cash this year with bonuses.
I'm assuming with the name on the cup, that means it goes back to someone else next year that wins it.
It goes to your house for a year.
For a year. Well,
and
then who cares? It doesn't stay. It's not like that's mine. That's mine there.
Okay.
The cash is mine. I get to keep that.
It's ours now, remember. Not just mine.
All right. For now.
And for now may be the point, huh, Fro?
Yeah, that's right. But you get your name on that cup there, and I mean the plan for this race and how I believe that it's going to develop that $1 million in a couple years, may even be $2 million, and I would be really proud to have my name on that cup. That is an amazing trophy.
Let's go back down to Aaron.
Ryan Dungey might be out of contention for that $1 million, but coming in a 3rd and a 2nd in those first 2 main events. Ryan, you still have a lot of purse money to win here tonight, but coming in, you really wanted to gauge your speed, new bike. Are you happy with the performance and where you sit right now?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think we just got to keep moving in the right direction, and it's a tough course, but it's a lot of fun. So give it all we got this 3rd moto, and see how it plays out, and we'll go from there to the season.
Only 6 days on this bike, you guys. A very impressive ride tonight for Ryan Dungey.
Sure has been, Aaron. As we welcome you back into our booth here high atop the track at Sam Boyd Stadium, getting ready to see if we can make some history. We're making it one way or the other. First ever Monster Energy Cup, I think, has been a fantastic event, and it really sets the stage for where this race is going to go in the future.
Yeah, it really has. I think it's a spectacular event. It's only going to get better. The vibe is amazing. I think once people leave this event, I think they're going to be really happy and excited, and all the main beat players will be here next year, I'm sure, and it's going to be exciting.
Well, we know Ricky likes to be on Twitter all the time, and we've got another Twitter question for us. It's actually from JS7, James Stewart. Says, Ralph's jacket is sick. Looks like he just walked out of a Texas rodeo. Oh, man.
Well, if JS7, I can't believe he
I thought it was something
James,
Johnny Cash wore.
Really?
Hey, that's his style. He's rocking it. Ralph, I think you look good, pal.
Thank you. So
you do
JS7,
look good, pal.
JS7. Okay, buddy.
Hey, I tell you what's going to look good. It'll be $1 million carrying it off.
Yeah, I can't wait to see James real soon. James, pick a bike and let us know what you're going to ride. Main event number 3, all about $1 million. It's all on the line for Ryan Villapoto. He's got to win this race.
I think he's thinking about it now. I think now it's on his mind. He was calm, cool, collected. Okay, yeah. But now he's like, wait, I really can win that.
It's for real now.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that one last race. You know, these guys are probably thinking, oh, man, we got to go there and do this. But I bet he ain't thinking that right now. He's like, dude, I got a chance. It's for real now.
Yeah, exactly. And all the other guys on the inside, they're just thinking, get out of the gate and just hold it on.
Here it is, $1 million on the line. Oh, screaming from the outside. Could be a problem for Villapoto. He didn't get the early lead. Big pile up behind him. It's Alessi in the front. Here comes Dungey.
Uh-oh, Alessi and Villapoto. Oh, no way!
Villapoto has got to find a way around Alessi and do it quickly because Dungey is on his tail.
Let's see. I mean, Alessi, he talks so much about how important this race would be for him to, you know, raise some cash for his newly team that he's got put together right here. It's be a good opportunity. And for Dungey,
I think Villapoto's going to make quick work of him right here.
He has to. He's got to try to get out front and get away. Here he comes, trying to get to the outside. Cuts it back inside. Plenty of room.
And still triples out right there. What a move by Ryan Villapoto. Now, Dungey needs to make a quick move on Alessi to have any chance at stopping this dominance by Villapoto.
Down the hill they go.
Man, when you're dialed in, you are dialed in. He is so focused right now.
He knew that he had to get around him really quick. Didn't want Ryan Dungey to be right on his tail too long.
Wow, the track is getting really hard packed through there, Ricky. Bikes are slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah, you can see the blue groove there on the start straight.
2 seconds to gap between Villapoto and Alessi and Dungey. Here comes Dungey trying to find that inside line, Jeff.
Yeah, see, Dungey needed to make that move. He's just been too cautious. And that's kind of been the way that I feel that Dungey has been all throughout 2011. Just been a little cautious.
Most of his career.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So you think that's something he really needs to step up on?
Well, I think, you know, they just know. I think that, he's not overly aggressive. He waits for the right time. He doesn't like to force the issue. And at a race like this, you need to.
Like that. And that could be a pass worth $1 million.
Man.
In our Dunlop replay.
That's awesome.
And see, Dungey right here, not quite as aggressive in that one spot.
Trying to get it done here, Jeff.
Yeah, but can he go around the outside? I doubt it.
Cuts inside. Oh. Can he power past? What does the KTM have? Here he goes up Monster Mountain. He's going to take over second.
Now, is Dungey going to be able to put together? Uh-oh. Getting dirty.
Comes back. There was contact there.
That should have never happened. Look at that. They're gonna mess around and let Metcalf get up in there if they mess.
Oh, did you see the finger wave?
Well, really? Does he give #1 sign or what? Look at this.
Yeah, but what's happening is Villapoto's going to be gone. He's already over the finish line jump right now.
Villapoto's going to make that paper tonight. These guys don't step it up, quit messing around with each other.
Here comes Dungey again.
You can see Dungey's like a little head shake getting in there. Did you see that, bro?
Yeah, but you see how how cautious Dungey is. That just tells you that's like gravel through there, because he was afraid to lay the bike over at all coming into that left-hander.
I'll tell you what, he's a better man than I am, Fro. Because I don't think I can stay behind this guy that long.
Oh, yeah. We've seen a little bit of that in your career.
Yeah.
Especially early on. You just had to run into everybody.
I had to. I was like a ping pong ball. It's like, you know, but look at this. I mean,
there it
same
is.
spot. Here we go.
Now what can Alessi
There
do?
you go.
Oh, look, he's mad now. Alessi.
He's had a rough day. He has had a rough day, and he's taking it all out right here, right now. But Dungey has to just disappear.
Villapoto last lap around was 6 seconds ahead, turning a 127. These guys were messing around at 131s.
Yeah.
If you've tuned in looking for the Formula One Grand Prix of Korea, don't worry, it's coming up live as soon as we are done here with the Monster Energy Cup in Vegas. Sit back and enjoy this with us first, as Dungey and Alessi are going at it. Ryan Dungey on that #5 KTM, and he's battling with the #800 Suzuki of Mike Alessi, but Brett Metcalf and Nick Way getting into this mix. Nick Way on the Kawasaki back in 5th, running on his own out of a van here tonight.
That is cool. What an awesome story. Like you said, you don't need those big rigs to do big things.
That's right, but I'll tell you what here, Metcalf, he's starting to creep up. He's got some momentum going. And, I mean, Metcalf, he's setting 3rd overall coming into this event here. I mean, into this final main event. So, pretty big payday for all of these guys. 100 grand to win it. If you didn't win all 3 main events, like somebody's going to collect $1 million tonight. Though.
Well, and a $250,000 purse, it pays pretty good, pretty deep. So everybody's got a shot at big money here tonight. Metcalf really going after Alessi here.
Look at Alessi cutting way over to the right, just squeezing Metcalf out on that, and that ticks you off so much because you know you got the momentum on the guy.
Because what's going to happen as soon as he gets by him, he's just going to be, you know, it's going to be see you later. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, Alessi been a little bit off the pace here, especially since that horrific crash earlier today. See, look at Alessi guarding the inside. Oh, he's off the track.
Having his problems some more here tonight is Mike Alessi, and he gives up 2 more spots, including 1 to Nick Way.
Michigan Mafia, but the privateer bike, we saw him making through the LCQ, I believe it was, right?
No, it was a semi.
He won a semi number 2, I believe it was.
Yeah, you can see Alessi here running out of steam. He's had a long night.
Davalos next on the 23 to come up and challenge.
And Davalos actually setting 5th overall with the scores from main event 1 and 2.
There you go. You can see him going off the track. He went inside, went off the track, and now he's back on, losing 2 positions when he did that.
Yeah, you know, and Alessi has tried the racing line. He's tried to get out of the racing line in different spots, and it's just not. He's just been a little click off, and you got to wonder. You know, you go down like that, it really shakes you up and shakes your concentration.
Look at this guy. Do that. He is on point, man.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere he wants, just throwing it in the turns, riding so aggressive. Nice little lead. About 4 laps to go when he crosses the line.
Halfway through it, $1 million waiting.
This is about $250,000 right here. Next lap will be about 500, $500,000.
Well, obviously, the other thing, too, is this Kawasaki 2012 model in Supercross form looks pretty strong, as we said earlier. And this is the first time they've run the Supercross suspension. Everybody getting ready for Anaheim coming up in the beginning of January. take note, this is going to be a stout piece to deal with.
This guy right here has got to be so happy knowing I just have to hold it together for 4 or 5 more laps to win $1 million, the first time in motocross, supercross history that this has ever happened.
That could have been throwing away $1 million right there.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking while you guys were talking. That we were looking at that outside section out there. There's a lot of rocks coming up. I mean, he really has to stay focused and not get ahead of himself. Let's take another look at this as he comes down Monster Alley, and we'll watch this. He wants to get on the rear tire and wheelie through here. Gets a little skip right there. Corrects it. Nice and easy. But, you know, I read this interesting book by Phil Jackson where he talks about when he was, you know, coaching the Bulls to all those championships and how he would teach his riders to stay in the moment. And this is kind of that time where Villopoto has to think about what's happening here and now. Not think about the million, not think about the checkered flag, because he still has laps to go, 4 laps to go to get there. So there's a lot of time, right? It's close to 6 minutes still.
You know, one other thing to take note of as we inch our way closer towards the conclusion of the 2011 season and the beginning of the 2012, of course, Villopoto having a great night here tonight on his Kawasaki. Yamaha just recently announced they're offering over $3 million in contingency this year to racers competing across the board in a variety of events. A lot of that money is going to go towards Monster Energy Supercross competitors. That whole program kicking off here tonight. So it'll be interesting to see who shows up on a Yamaha at Anaheim.
Well, that's a lot of money on the line, too, throughout that contingency program. You have 17 rounds of Monster Energy Supercross. You know, privateer, possibly a support team, like a B-team rider that is eligible for all of that contingency. They can rake in a lot of cash themselves.
You know, there's 4 laps remaining here, but you think of everything that comes into play here. You know, obviously Ryan Villopoto is doing his part. This team and his mechanics have done a tremendous job. They're on the verge of a perfect season, Ricky. And you think about everything that has to work right. The team, the rider, and every piece on that motorcycle just to win one race, let alone to have such an incredible year.
Yeah, it's amazing the odds that you defeat. Just like you say, that, you know, whether it be a flat tire, chain fall off, your bike sees up, you know, falling down, not getting hurt. And for him to do what he's doing right now, when he looks back someday when he retires, he's going to remember this year. I mean, to win all these championships and these races, I mean, it's special.
Yeah, but what I always go back to is that horrendous crash he had in St. Louis 2010, battling Dungey for the Monster Energy Supercross title. Really bad injury, fracture to his right lower leg, and we weren't really sure how he would come out for 2011. And he came out and won the opening round. And he didn't expect to win. He just wanted to get a nice, solid ride in. Think about that. He won that race, and he didn't even expect to. And since then, his confidence has grown. He's done all the hard work. The team and everybody have put it all together. Now you have this dominating season.
But think of how crazy that year was, too. He didn't even make the main at Jacksonville.
I hear you.
And, you know, and he came back and ended up winning the Monster Energy Supercross Championship. And then he goes on and wins the outdoor title, then the Motocross of Nations. It's just been a remarkable year. Kevin Windham, by the way, who we talked about just barely inching into the mains. He's running in 13th right now. Michael Lessie's in 6th.
I tell you what, we had that Fast 5 from the Supercross Championship this year with Villopoto, Dungey, Reed, Stewart, Trey Kennard. Kennard, of course, is healing up from another fracture in his femur. He's a rider that can really come back strong. And then, you know, Stewart and Reed, both at home right now watching. And that's the motivation. You watch one of your competitors get that cash like that. Oh, we'll see those guys.
I'd be fired up.
You know it.
And you know what? And a big shout out to Nick Way right now. He is running in 4th, having a great run here in this final race, the 2011 season. A lap and a half to go, and Ryan Villopoto is going to win $1 million. Did you ever think all those years you two pounded around your family's tracks, the local tracks, the factory tracks, that you'd see a dirt bike racer win $1 million in one night?
Never, ever a chance.
Ricky, we did the U.S. Open years ago. It was $100,000 to win.
It felt like $1 million to me when I did it. And I'm almost in shock thinking about what this kid is fixing to do. A man now, what he's about to accomplish and win. The first time ever, what this is going to do for him, for the sport in general. It's very, very awesome. Something I think he's going to be very proud of.
And a lot of credit has to go to the folks at Feld Motorsports, Feld Entertainment, and Monster for coming up with the concept and putting it all together to have this night, to take this sport to such a huge level.
And the fans here are on their feet. He's got a big lead here. But and on the left here in our split screen, that's Mike Williamson, his mechanic, who's been with them along this journey here since he's been at Monster Energy Kawasaki.
That's Mike right there in the Kawasaki hat.
And he's wondering what to put on the pin board, Ricky.
Millionaire. That ought to do it.
He's like, wait, how many zeros goes in $1 million?
I'd love to know what he's thinking right now.
Villopoto just got married. Held off on the honeymoon to compete here. They're going to celebrate in big fashion. Anything you want, you can have.
The crowd is really responding here. They know what sort of payday's on the line for Villopoto. They're letting him hear it.
He's getting pumped now.
History was made just when we showed up here with the opportunity to race for $1 million. The Monster Energy Cup. It was a wild idea. People never thought anybody who raced a dirt bike would have a shot at $1 million. The concept of doing a hybrid track, a supercross and motocross combination. Nobody knew what we were going to see for sure here tonight. Yet they showed up and $1 million was at stake. And Ryan Villopoto has done it. He's won all three. He is the Monster Energy Cup inaugural winner, and he's a millionaire after just one race.
I got to be honest, guys. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to win 3 motos. As good as Villopoto has been this year, I don't want to discredit him in any way, but I thought 3 main events in a row like that, and he has just dominated this event.
Unbelievable. What a great race, man, for him. He was so textbook perfect. Starts were amazing. The guy was on point the whole time. He came here to do business. He did it. What a way to round out his year. Now he can go his honeymoon, $1 million richer. I can't believe $1 million, man. That is just amazing.
Whatever you want for room service, you can now order.
Okay. Give me 2 orders of the calamari.
Making that paper.
Ryan Villopoto, Mike Williamson, the entire Monster Energy Kawasaki team. You got to give that entire organization credit. The perfect season, winning it all, and capping it off with an unbelievable feat of winning here at the Monster Energy Cup and claiming the Monster Million. The fireworks are going off, and when we come back, we'll talk to the new millionaire, Ryan Villopoto.
The Monster Energy Cup was a great way to end a spectacular season of Supercross racing. Don't worry, Anaheim will be here before you know it, and Speed will return with live coverage of the opener, plus 9 other events, including the finale in May 2012, right back here in Las Vegas. Join us as Ryan Villopoto tries to defend his title against the most talented field in the sport's history. Chad Reed, Ryan Dungey, James Stewart, Trey Kennard, and Kevin Windham will all be back for another shot at the title. When we return to Sam Boyd Stadium, final thoughts from our own podium contenders, Ralph, Jeff, Ricky, and Aaron, when live coverage of the Monster Energy Cup returns on Speed.
Victory celebration getting ready to go. Of course, Ryan Villopoto's picking up the tab for everything tonight. Here are the results.
I need to hang out with him.
That's how it came out. Villapoto sweeping it.
1-1-1.
Dungy, well, he'll get a good payday out of that $250,000 purse, and we head right down to Aaron.
A perfect day from start to finish for Ryan Villapoto, and he walks away with $1 million check. And to present the honors is Juliet Feld from Feld Entertainment. Juliet, go ahead.
On behalf of Feld Motorsports and Monster Energy, congratulations on your winnings.
Thank you.
$1 million check. Ryan, it's the Grand Slam, the quintessential Grand Slam to a perfect season. What does it mean to walk away with the icing on the cake of a perfect season and $1 million check?
You know, it was supposed to be on my honeymoon right now, but you know, this is a good present for that. It was worth the wait, I guess. So you know, I just can't thank everybody that's helped me through this whole year. It's been a hell of a year for all of us. You know, to have another one of these will be very hard to do. So you know, just can't thank everybody. Lord Jesus for keeping me safe. He's the guy that looks over all of us, and you know, can't thank him and you know, Feld, Monster for putting this on. It's a cool one-off race, and I'm $1 million richer now. So black number 2 maybe tonight. We'll see.
Coming into tonight, did you think it was possible? And when you were on that line, did you start to feel the pressure after taking 2 for 2?
Man, you know, since it's a one-off race, it's kind of, you know, there's not as much pressure as a normal Supercross race, and you know, I nailed my starts, all 3 of them. Almost pulled 3 hole shots, but got 2, and you know, just I got to give it up to Rick for the power, Dunlop for the tires. You know, to everybody, thank you.
The celebration is on for Ryan Villapoto.
All right, Aaron, thank you. The Monster Energy Cup will be back. We'll be here again next October. And of course, we'll see everybody in Anaheim January 7th. That's when the Monster Energy season of Supercross will begin. There it is right there. And all of those shows that you see, those yellow arrows, live on speed. Ricky, what do you think?
That doesn't get any better than that. The sport is definitely getting to where it needs to be, and I'm pumped to be a part of it.
And Jeff, we know exactly where the bar is if you want to be the 2012 champ. It's Ryan Villapoto.
You're going to have to go through RV2 if you want it, but
That's
what
right.
a great 2011 season and $1 million going to Ryan Villapoto.
The biggest question now is where's Villapoto going on the town, because that's where we're all headed. For Aaron, Ricky, and Jeff, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Las Vegas. We will see you in just a few weeks, January 7th, Anaheim, California, when we kick off the 2012 season. Congratulations, Ryan Villapoto, an incredible season. You are the Monster Energy Cup millionaire.